right, let's do a cheers to the Sobeys and Safer Liquid Beer Review podcast.
Be right again.
I love you guys.
Careful, that cake's hot.
All right, let's do a cheers to the Sobeys and Safer Liquid Beer Review podcast.
Be right again.
I love you guys.
Careful, that cake's hot.
Check-in, come on, let's go. It's the AM Nasty Big Hello.
It's my static AM radio.
It's the Cool Bed Red Hot Nielson Show. Let's go. Everybody tuning in, even my wife.
Mommy likes too.
And those Macramalla intros are cutting like a knife. Hey, it's Mitch texting in, he's your dealer for life. Let's crack at 6 o'clock and log in with some sirloin bites.
Good morning, everybody. What is going on? Trev, can you turn me up just a little bit? Just a little bit. Man, we've been having fun. Oh, yeah, that's nice. Oh, that's real nice. Man, these mics sound great. That coming through that board now, that new board? Real nice stuff. False start. We got you all early. Quick, no sound. You're all deaf. Just kidding. Hey, can you hear this? Well, then I guess you can. Man, we were having a lot of fun before we got going today. I don't know who brought it up. I don't know how it came up. The Gage, did you bring it up?
Yeah.
That was you. I'm blaming you then.
Because everyone's just up in arms and legs and doing weird dance moves because of Raygun.
Man, so then I watched the whole video again today. And what a legend. What a legend. It's just so funny. You see the dance and then you see underneath the opponent, 18 points. Raygun, 0. Like, not even moving the needle, but still carrying the swag, man. You probably know what we're talking about. If you don't know what we're talking about, Olympics, Australian, break dancing. Just, if you ever just need to smile for a bit, just go watch her performance. And did you think, first of all, I hope it's a bit. I hope she's just like, I'm going to get in with no experience and just be hilarious. And people are going to talk about me forever. And I'm going to go viral. Because if she actually thought she was doing really well.
She's been breaking for years, though.
Come on.
Yes,
Oh my God.
yeah. She's big in the community in Australia. I did a small little dive into it yesterday because I was laughing so hard. But the funniest thing is the Aussie newscasters that say that she got 0.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like you couldn't get a point, and it was all like you're battling too. Right?
Yeah,
So-
the other person standing there being like,
So she was battling this person with her, and I am assuming that's a kangaroo hop.
it looked like a kangaroo hop. It really did. And then you brought up the fact, I didn't see it, but Jimmy Fallon.
Oh.
Jimmy Fallon brought out Rachel Dratch as Raygun, and Rachel Dratch is just very underrated.
Yeah.
For how funny she was. I mean, maybe she didn't make it big on movies and stuff just because she's not doesn't look as hot as Kristen Wiig or something. Like, but Dratch is hilarious, and she comes out and just absolutely kills it on Fallon.
She didn't speak. And Fallon was basically saying, "Oh, you only communicate through dance." If you haven't watched it, it's worth a listen. After the show, go have a look. But,
that's good. It's too funny.
After yesterday, it's good to have a little bit of a laugh, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, so much going on yesterday.
Jeez,
I mean,
that's
a bunch
crazy.
of stuff happening after, like Nathan Rourke is back in the Canadian Football League on just a massive deal. We'll get into that. Obviously, what do we got? The Edmonton Oilers got 6 days left to match. What are they going to do? At this point yesterday, we didn't even know that an offer sheet was coming for the Blues. Stoff's blaming Ken Holland. We'll get into that as we work our way through the show today as well. The Elks, Eskimos conversation is back with new ownership coming in. Looks like that announcement is going to be on Thursday. And that's going to be an interesting discussion as well. Just a crazy busy August 13th yesterday.
Yeah.
It really was.
The wedding photos too. The
Photos. Geez, I didn't even think about that. I was on 1050 today. I'm trying to make it big in AM radio still.
Yeah.
So I was on TSN 1050 this morning talking about the offer sheets, and they did bring up the photos for the wedding, and I don't know, man. I do not care about the photos in any way. Like, I've been to weddings. I'm not a fanboy. I don't really care what the photos at the wedding look like. Nothing against Connor. I mean, he probably prefers that people don't want to drool over all the photos of a wedding that had an unlimited budget. Like, it just, I don't know. Yeah. I really enjoyed my wedding and other weddings of my close personal friends. I don't really care how the wedding went. I don't care if it was a disaster. I don't care if the food was great. And I don't care about the pictures.
No, the only reason I just heard they were in Vogue, like they sold the pictures to Vogue.
Jeez, you guys.
So I'm like, wow,
A deal for Vogue. That's good then, because they need more money.
Yeah.
So,
well, they probably just paid for the wedding, but it was.
what do you think? What do you think the deal is on how much does Vogue pay? See, I'm interested in this discussion.
Yeah.
How much does Vogue pay for the McDavid wedding photos?
Probably
is that $100,000?
I think so.
Is it $20,000? Is it $200,000? I mean, we'll never know.
Because obviously no one was allowed cell phones, right?
Yeah.
Because there was no leaks. Like, they probably confiscated everyone's device. You hadn't seen
That would have been
anything.
a drop a phone in a thing when you come in.
So,
$250,000. I could see $250,000.
I could see that. I mean, everyone's going to buy it today, right? And go have the photos. But mostly rabid hockey fans looking to see who was there and was Holloway there. They don't do that.
I guess not. He was too busy signing his offer sheet with the Blues. Yeah, I don't know. What do you think? 780-218-9999. Sheldon is in and says Lauren had 6 dresses. WTF? Well, that's, you know what? I did say to Gager and Trev today when I was doing a hit with the Bear, and then I was coming back in. I said, the only thing that I do really want to discuss with the wedding is that Connor had black suit, I guess, for the wedding.
Yeah.
And then white jacket for the ceremony. The 2 suits. He had to get changed and stuff. That would suck.
That would suck.
By the time I got to my ceremony, man, the tie was off. The shirt was a little bit loose. I was double fisting. And my wedding, nothing against McDavid's wedding, but my wedding was better because we had a 32-man bubble hockey tournament at my wedding. Yeah, like play more tables and games, dropped off.
Oh, really?
Yeah, full-blown bubble hockey.
Nice.
32-man bracket. and we did it at the wedding. My wife was an absolute saint even back then. It was unbelievable. I ended up losing in the semifinal. Oh, I was pissed. Yeah. Trev, you wish you were at that wedding? That's a wedding.
That sounds like my favorite wedding ever. That would be
That's what I
awesome.
mean.
That's like a great idea. I need to have that.
It was real
I
nice.
love bubble hockey. That's
Who doesn't?
yeah, bubble hockey. We had that back home. I'd always play with grandma and just smoke her, right?
Yeah.
So I got some reps in. Oh, that's a fantastic
full blade,
idea.
full machine, big bubble. It was so good. Yeah, we had the bracket on the wall. Went down. My two brother-in-laws met in the final.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and then the Godfather, Troy, the Godfather, he ended up winning it. And I was like, damn it. Yeah, I know. Can you believe that? Anyway, so he wins it. And then like a year later, they were staying at our house and they leave and he's like, hey, I left something for you under the bed. And I go down, look under the bed. He somehow snuck the bracket from the wedding.
Oh, no way.
With his championship in it and gave it back to me. I was like, I don't want this. I was furious. Tam had to talk me off the ledge. When I got eliminated, I had to go outside. She goes, go outside, relax. I was just like, well, I lost to my buddy J-Rod. And I remember I lost to him, and I was furious because I dominated him, like from a Corsi percentage. I must have shot this guy 20-6, and he beat me, and I was furious. And Tam on our wedding night had to take me out into the deck at Chateau Louis and be like, "Hey, listen, don't let this ruin the wedding night."
Yeah.
And I was just like, "But I outshot him by so much. It's ridiculous." So yeah, I mean, weddings are fun. But yeah, congratulations to the McDavids.
Yeah.
But. Yeah, I don't necessarily. What they post like 4 photos on social media. I don't need to dig into any other ones. Can you imagine being so famous that somebody pays you hundreds of thousands of dollars for your wedding photos?
Yeah, realizing there's opportunity for people want to see your wedding photos. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's nuts. Most people hate seeing other people's wedding photos.
Yeah. I don't get it, but whatever.
We've still got
7 dresses? Really?
I don't. Somebody said that. I don't know if that's true. I mean, I could see it being true.
I don't.
There's a lot. That's a lot of changing throughout the day. Though. That would suck unless it was she had like a big dress and then like ripped it off. There's another dress underneath and then another dress underneath.
Like the
different combinations.
Guy, the t-shirt guy.
Yeah.
Keeps coming.
That guy's huge. Actually, he's not that big. He's just wearing 40 t-shirts. So as far as wedding photos go. We moved into our house right before Elizabeth was born. She's 7. I still have like 4 wedding photos that are wrapped in plastic wrap from our move that are sitting up in the bonus room that I haven't put up. Like every year, Tammy would be like, hey, we should put up those photos. I was like, we'll get to it.
Yeah.
That was before Elizabeth was born. She's going into grade 2 this year. And those photos are still sitting there. So, yeah. All right, 780-218-9999, 780-218-9999. This is a good one. Siggy says, bubble hockey. I guess that beats the one I was at when 2 of the groomsmen got busted by undercover cops.
That's great.
So like undercover cops who like attended the wedding undercover and then busted 2 of the groomsmen. They must have been dealing the drugs.
Probably.
I mean, what else are you doing there?
Booger sugar.
That's kind of hilarious as well. All right, can hit us up in the Paris Jewelers inbox. Nielson Show today brought to you by South Fort Chevrolet. Go see Daniel and his team out in Fort Sask. Tell me EST sent you. You get 15% off accessories on your new ride. They're your go-to dealer for Silverado 1500s and heavy duties. Visit their website, www.southfortchev.com. Right now, they got the employee pricing. Save up to $12,000 on a new Tahoe or Suburban. And save up to $14,000 on Silverado 1500s and heavy duties with their employee pricing. Once again, this month, you can hit us up in the Paris Jewelers inbox at 780-218-9999, 780-218-9999 is where you can text us today. Paris Jewelers, 22 locations across 4 provinces, one great website, www.parisjewelers.com. Maybe you too are getting married, just like Connor McDavid. Maybe you're getting married because Connor McDavid also got married this year, and you're like, I have to do it too. Go to Paris Jewelers. They'll hook you up. Great customer service. My wife was actually by Paris Jewelers yesterday. Great customer service there. So very good company and very good inbox today. Macramalla, of course, is on today. So we got Macramalla anchos flying in like crazy. Scalding Gord is in and says, hey, Dusty, didn't you get paid for the chin strap from the Chin Strap Times for wedding photos?
That's right. You were rocking the chin strap for your wedding, weren't you?
I did, and it looked real nice. It was tight. It was good. Big Maple was in it. Says, I can't believe Dusty got goalied on his own wedding night. I did.
That's good.
Big Maple, that's a good one. That's a really good one. 780-218-9999 is where you can chime in. Yeah, Mikey's in it. Says, Dusty, but did McDavid have a chin strap in his wedding photos? No. I mean, nobody's brave enough to do that. But it does live on legendary around the house. So that's always nice to see.
McDavid's like, those pictures from like the 1800s when cameras were first developed, and what is that one?
Nobody
No one smiles. Like that's Connor's like from the 1840s.
That's
like,
A Million Ways to Die in the West.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are we, crazy?
Yeah.
They look like crazy people.
There's like one photo that exists of a man who smiled in it, and they're like, no, I can't believe it.
Yeah.
Then she gets it for him. Yeah. That's a funny movie.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah, but it's kind of what you never see like a big like.
Yeah, there's no real. I was jokingly saying the only time I see him smile is when his teammate scores.
Yeah, that's true. He smiles more when somebody else scores than when he scores
when he
himself.
scores, it looks like his dog got run over.
780-218-9999. We'll lay out the rest of the show for you here as we work our way through. We'll get to your morning announcements coming up right away. It's Nielson and Gage with you today, presented to you by South Fort Chevrolet, coming at you from the Popeyes Louisiana Kitchen Studio, where they do have the boneless wings now available in all 5 delicious flavors. We're going to get to our SD topic of the day. Big news on the SDs. More on that at the morning announcements here. Interesting results, at least results that I find somewhat interesting from if you bought the Elks this week, what would you do with the name? I put that poll up last night, and we'll get to that as we work our way through the show. That Hurts is coming up in the 6 o'clock hour for the personal injury lawyers over at SBLLP. Dave Naylor is going to join us. We're going to talk Nathan Rourke. We're going to talk Elks ownership. Has Bo Levi Mitchell played his last game in the Canadian Football League? We'll get to that. Free advice for the best slumlord in the biz, Damon Bunting. We'll go there. What do you need help with? You can text us on that one. Cool Bet Hotline of the day. We've hit 2 in a row on that, and I'm 2-0 to start the week on the Lock Shot Play of the day. So nice. It's all baseball, too. And baseball is my least favorite sport to bet, but we're a nice start to the week. Andy Strickland, who covers the St. Louis Blues, is going to be by around 7:35 today. Eric Macramalla will join us. Kind of easy trivia for Mr. Mike's. 3 questions too many for Park Mazda. That's good for Italian Center Shop. We'll go there around 8:30 today as well. And, of course, the wrap for William Huff. Your text messages to 780-218-9999. Let me just bang out a few Macramalla intros that have already rolled in today. EST legal analyst and guy who claims to have never lost a case because he doesn't count quitting just before the verdict as a loss. I don't have a good feeling about this one. All right. And do you has the jury came to a conclusion? And then you hear, I quit. I'm out. I like that one. EST legal analyst and guy who has the title Orgy Master General on his business card. EST legal analyst and guy who likes to offer sheet other firms' interns, Eric Macramalla. That's a good one as well. EST legal analyst and guy whose off-Broadway reimagining of The Big Lebowski stars himself as the dude and Steve Buscemi as Maud Lebowski. It has been viewed by AM Nasties as fun and fascinating. Corey B says, an interesting twist on the classic. VR Montenegro says, watching Macramalla and Steve Buscemi have sex is possibly the most disturbing thing I've ever seen. Oh, my God. Vance Van Vandervan. How about
movie
this?
review. I like that.
Yeah. Tube Socks is in. EST legal analyst and guy who was recently placed on the no-fly list after loudly exclaiming, is my ass allowed on this plane? Because it's the bomb. That's a good one. EST legal analyst and guy who's been held in contempt of court for flying a drone into the prosecutor's office during case preparation. That's good. I like that. All right, 780-218-9999, 780-218-9999. We'll get to a few of those. Let's get into your morning announcements right now. for 100.3 The Bear, Edmonton's best rock. McCord rolling solo. This week, I believe UConn must be on vacation. Of course, Jess Jackson every day on the way home. The sailor over on the Nasty Chat says, hey, I'm making my way north to the cottage for the next 5 days and starting the day off with the Nasties. Life's good. Conch everyone except Pete Shirelli. Go F yourself. Quick comment about people in Ontario, which is where the sailor lives. I swear to God, every person I know from Ontario, and I know a few people on like our CFL crews that are based out of Ontario, they come out for games. They all have cottages.
Do they?
Everybody has a cottage. I don't think I've ever met anybody from Ontario. And I was like, do you have a cottage? Like, no. Even people who live in downtown Toronto in like an apartment that costs like $4,500 for one room. They're like, I can't afford the rent down here. And they're like, well, what are you doing for the summer? Oh, I'm going to my cottage. Love my cottage. I just don't understand how everybody in Ontario has a bloody cottage. I thought it was just like Bob McKenzie who had a cottage, but everybody has a cottage.
Like that's where obviously Connor and Lauren got married in Muskoka. That was the big thing when I was my first tour of duty with the Oilers.
Yeah.
All those guys like Jason Arnott. Where's he from? It's not Muskoka, but they all they were NHL guys. But the big place was Lindros's cottage, and I saw pictures of this place. It's not a cottage; it's a mansion.
It's a mansion on a lake.
Yeah, like they're the 3-car garage for the boats that go in and stuff like that. Like Muskoka's gorgeous because it's
3-car garage for a boat.
Yeah, like it's crazy some of these things, and actually through work I do have a lot of clients out in Ontario, and they
have cottages.
They have cottages.
I just like, do cottages not cost a lot out there? Like, I don't understand how everybody can have one.
It's in the family a lot of times.
A family cottage.
Yeah.
It's hereditary.
So, but like, aunts, uncles, it was all purchased with the
and they
focus.
like share it type of
Yeah,
thing.
it's like it's a timeshare with your family. So I guess you got to like your family.
Well, that's the thing. What if you're like, oh man, I don't want to go out there with Auntie this time? Like,
my cousin Trev's out there. I can't get out there.
all he does, he goes out there and reads a phone book.
He loves it out there because it's a small community.
Oh, hi, my name's Trev. I love the phone book.
Real quick.
Trev's working on his update over there. We can't interrupt him. He's working on his sports update because there's like nothing to talk about from yesterday. This is gonna be the best update you've ever done, Trev. I can't wait. It's very anticipated. This is a very anticipated update. Don't blow it. This is gonna be the best update I've ever heard in my entire life. All right, here's your morning announcements. Couple of things to get to here. Nathan Rourke is back in the Canadian Football League on a pretty significant deal. So he gets paid the rest of this year. Next year, $750,000.
Oh.
And the year after that, $809,000 to be the quarterback of the BC Lions. Now, we're going to get into this with Naylor a little bit just after 7 o'clock on how this contract is structured, because it's $750,000 next year. It's $809,000 the following year. But both of those years include $200,000 in marketing money. And that $200,000 doesn't count towards the cap. So like a quarter of the deal won't count towards the cap because it's marketing money. And the marketing money it's like an appearance fee. So he'll go out into the community and he'll go do this event and the BC Lions will pay him $10,000. He'll go do this event, they'll pay him another $10,000. Like a lot of these guys have this. Like I know a bunch of the Elks, like their marketing dollars would be like, there's an additional $8,000 on your salary for the year, but you have to go make some appearances to get it. So I don't know how legit, like if they're tracking everything and be like, well, Nathan still has to make 3 more appearances, he gets $200,000. Or they're just like, Amar Doman's like, hey man, come to this wedding and I'll give you $200,000. You know what I mean? Like, that's why I want to get into a little bit with Naylor, because it's a little bit confusing to me. But the bottom line is things just got a lot better for the Canadian Football League as Nathan Rourke, a Canadian quarterback who was an absolute star before he left, is returning. That's exciting, no matter what. I mean,
does it take him a bit to adjust just being down south for a while?
I don't know. Apparently, they're going to start him on Sunday.
Really?
Yeah, which is great because I'm doing that game on Sunday. So it's trending towards possibly a Trevor Harris, Cody Fajardo game on Friday.
Wow.
And they're both returning.
Yeah.
And then Nathan Rourke on Sunday against a Bombers team that just shut out the BC Lions 25-0 2 weeks ago. So, but I could see, I don't know. It's not like he practiced a lot down there, but he didn't get on the field for game action, right? So it should, I don't know.
Just size of the field.
I'll say this. I guess I'm open for both conversations. Like, does it take him a little bit to catch up? But I won't be surprised. Well, maybe just because of the opposition, because the Bombers' defense has been pretty good. So I won't say 400 yards, but I wouldn't be surprised if he throws for 300 yards on Sunday.
I'm only looking at it from my point of view, where going from basically a small playing area to a way larger one, right? Like, so it's that would kind of be weird. Just like going from the big ice to the small ice. Might be a little bit of adjustment there, and just not getting regular reps, like game snaps, might be a little bit difficult. But he's a phenomenal talent too. Like, that's, I'm glad he's back. Like, I was like, what are you doing? Like, bouncing around, not getting after that one pass he did in preseason. What was that, last year? Or what, like, you're like,
against Jacksonville when he was being tackled, or for Jacksonville when he's being tackled and he threw it.
And it was just awesome. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. This guy's gonna get a shot and just got buried.
No shot.
Yeah.
Like, his best shot, if he still wants to someday get to the National Football League, I think, because he's not old, he's like 25, 26, come back up here, like, win the MOP 3 years in a row, throw for 6,000 yards one season, and then you tell them, no, I'm not coming down to be the number 4 guy. I'm not coming down to be the number 3 guy. I'm coming down to a situation where I'm the number 2 guy and the number 1 guy is like Sam Darnold. You know, like that type of thing. Like, do that for yourself. You're still 29 at the time. You got 3 MOPs under your belt. Maybe they'll look at you. I still doubt they'd look at him differently, but maybe they'd look at him differently there. So we'll get into that with Naylor. He's going to join us just after 7 o'clock this morning. We're going to get to some of those results that I posted yesterday on a possible / likely name change coming for the Edmonton Elks. We'll get into that. And well over 4,000 votes on this poll. And interesting results. So we'll get to that coming up. We're going to get to That Hurts for SBLLP on the way before 7 o'clock here today as well. We got to dive into our category of the day at the Estes. We'll do that. And, of course, the Edmonton Oilers now have 6 days left, and we've known for about 20 hours now or 22 hours that the St. Louis Blues have pulled the trigger on the dual offer sheets. And, I mean, just a brilliant piece of work from the St. Louis Blues perspective. I mean,
awesome.
You got to give them credit. If this was the other way around, if this was the Oilers plucking 2 young guys from a team for a second and third, and that's it, we would be like, Jeff Jackson's a genius.
What, like... So if you, I guess, over those limits, the compensation changes. I tried to find I didn't go too deep in it, but I wanted to see the levels of compensation for isn't it money value and age of the player too? Is that all?
Is age of the player factored in too?
I thought I heard that, but I couldn't find it.
Because they said the Broberg thing is the max contract for a second rounder. So any more money would have been a first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but I remember back in the day, like, if you through an offer sheet, it was like 5 first rounders or something ridiculous.
That was the big one. That was like the max one.
The max one.
Penner went for what, a first, second, and a third?
Yeah,
I think that's what it was for Penner. So yeah, they've adjusted that a little bit. If you want more details on how they can get in under the cap, we can dive into that. We had Hart from Puckpedia on 2 guys yesterday.
What was it called? GM. There's a little I was looking for that icon up on the
GM
corner.
tool or
GM tool or something. It's up on the top right, and you can start building your own team and how it'll work, which is great.
Yeah. Puckpedia, check it out. Cap friendly, of course, no more. And as he said, he goes, traffic's been good.
Yeah,
on Puckpedia for the last little while. That lucky duck.
I'm getting used to it too. I think everyone was a cap friendly guy, but I like the color scheme, and it's grown on me. Puckpedia. I'm not as
I got to get used to it still.
Yeah,
I haven't been there enough to.
Yeah, no, I was messing around with it a lot after 2 guys yesterday. I was like, oh, this is...
You got sucked in a little bit, eh?
I did.
Nice. Scalding Gord. Let's wrap up the first half of the first hour with this. Hey, if you're watching on YouTube today, hammer the thumbs up for us. Sub to the channel. That would be much appreciated. Closing up towards 9,700 subs. Changing 6,400. Let's hammer through 100. Changing 64, not 6400. Wouldn't that be a show? Let's pass 100 here in the 6 o'clock hour. We got the update coming up. I do want to get to this one quick text from Scalding Gord, though. Looks like St. Louis gave Edmonton the blues. All right, let's get to an update for Nisku Glass. If you have glass and it's broken, cracked, or you want some new glass, Nisku Glass is the place for you. Chev's got more on that after the best update he's ever done in his entire life.
Longtime season ticket holder Larry Thompson is set to announce his ownership of the Edmonton Elks on Thursday, and it is with good reason to believe that a rebrand could potentially happen over the next 1 to 2 years, changing the Elks back to the Eskimos or the S. We'll know more about this tomorrow. Staying on the CFL, Nathan Rourke is set to return to the BC Lions after clearing the NFL waivers following his release from the Atlanta Falcons. The 4-5 BC Lions will be taking on the Winnipeg Blue Bombers this Sunday, in which there's a good chance Rourke will make his season debut. In the majors, the Blue Jays won their game last night by the score of 6-1. Kevin Gausman pitched 7 scoreless innings, and George Springer felt he got hit, but apparently he didn't, and this led to him getting ejected at the top of the 7th inning in the last night's ballgame. The Blue Jays look to sweep the Angels in Game 3 of the series tonight at 7:30 on the road. And time is ticking for the Oilers management group to match the St. Louis Blues offer sheets they made yesterday to defenseman Philip Broberg and forward Dylan Holloway. The Oilers have 6 days and 2 hours to match these offers. And lastly, this one's for Zach. Ahead of UFC 305, Dana White was asked if Conor McGregor will fight in this calendar year, to which he said, no, Conor McGregor will not fight in 2024. This sports update is brought to you by Nisku Glass, where they can meet all your automotive, residential, and commercial glass needs. They offer free pickup and drop-off services for your vehicle and free estimates at your home and business, and have a 4.8 star rating on Google. They will service anywhere in Greater Edmonton area and beyond. Give them a call at 780-955-7989 to meet all your glass needs.
Here's Jackson, you are for real, for real, for real, for real, for real, for real. Here's Jackson, you are now the new interim head coach of the Edmonton Elks. They have a great receiving corps, but now you gotta get the defense to stop a few plays here and there so you can win a damn football game. For real, for real, for real. The fan base wants a win, so let's get out there and do it, do it, do it. Let's get out there and get the Elks to win the Grey Cup and celebrate with the boys with the 6 o'clock log. For real, for real, for real, for real, for real, for real. Let's go, Elks.
Jarius Jackson, you are for real remix from John T. and Victoria, who, by the way, John T. and Victoria emailed myself and Matthew Wannick yesterday and said, boys, I'd like a couple of tickets to the Estes. John T. in Victoria making the trip from Victoria out for the Estes. Ticket information now available for the Estes. If you go to www.edmontonsportstalk.com, right along the top banner, you'll see Estes. It's going down September 17th at the Metro Cinema Garneau Theater. We have rented the Garneau Theater, and we are going to be holding the Estes there. And I had a bunch of people last night who were sliding in my DMs or replying to be like, I got my tickets, ready to go. My buddy Potsy from Potts Bar and Grill on Fort says they're crushing the 6 o'clocker lager out there. He's like, I got 4 tickets to the Estes, buddy. He goes, is it okay if I just wear a regular suit or should I wear a tux? I said, as long as you're rolling in a tie, we'll probably be all right. So can you believe this?
It's unreal.
We got the Garneau Theater rented for the Estes.
ISIS better not mess this one up. This is this is important here.
This is a big deal.
Yeah.
This is a big deal. I'm pretty sure. I would think there's probably a few more people coming from out of town too. Like I think tickets started moving like immediately last night. Once Maddie was just like, "Hey, here it is. It's going down Tuesday, September 17th." You know what I'm going to talk to? I'm going to talk to Hudson's about after party just down the street.
Yeah,
right.
that's
It's
a
not
good
far
idea.
away.
Yeah.
I said to Tam last night because like my parents are coming up, Marshall and the Muzz are going to come. Like it's gonna be a big thing. But I did tell Tam after. I said, just so you know, I'll be going to an after party. Like, so yeah, pretty. Yeah, I mean Wednesday morning show, Wednesday September 18th. Don't expect a lot of effort that morning. I'm throwing it out there right now. So John T. Victoria's coming in. Atif, I'm sure Atif will be there. Atif over in the old wheels in the nasty chat this morning. Cottages is like trying to volunteer at the Folk Fest years ago. You had to know someone to volunteer at the Folk Fest. I didn't know anyone. I just got lucky, and I'm still volunteering for the folk. Great story, Atif. Great story. I totally get the comparison. Yeah. That makes a ton of sense. You're such a beauty, buddy. You are such a beauty. Anyway, hey, if you want tickets to the Estes, they're $10. Just helps us cover the cost of the venue. Just email matt@edmontonsportstalk.com, matt@edmontonsportstalk.com. And remember, it's a black tie event.
I still can't believe this is actually, it's off the ground. Like when you guys first mentioned it, I was like, what? It's just gonna be us in a big theater. And that was kind of fun. And that kind of appealed to me too. But now to have a packed house.
Well, I mean, it seats 500 people. Hey. If it's packed, we might as well shut down EST because there'll never be a better moment than a packed Garneau theater.
I think you could might be some foot traffic.
Yeah, some walk up, somebody randomly walking by in a suit. Holy smokes! I'm dressed for this event.
You need to get that marquee up there, like coming soon. The Estes, like
I wonder if we have to pay extra for that or what. Like, just some randoms who are like people who like to just take in the theater.
Well,
they roll in that night being like,
there's a
what
real
the
fancy,
hell is this?
There's a fancy French restaurant just around the corner that you can people get dressed up going there. So
yeah, well maybe
a little overflow.
That's so we'll go over there for extra traffic. No, I mean I did say to Maddie, I said, you know what? Even if like family, friends, and 30 people show up, I said this is still going to be one of the funniest things we've ever done. Like it's going to be outstanding. So yes, get your tickets. Email matt@edmontonsportstalk.com or just go to edmontonsportstalk.com, click on Estes, and there's more information on it there. Maddie and I were going through 4 possible options for the trophy for the Estes, and I think there's a couple pretty good options. So, I mean, it's not going to be huge trophies, but, you know, people who win, listeners, hosts, musicians, whatever.
Has Vogue contacted Maddie yet?
I didn't tell you. We got $350,000 for the rights to the photos, but it's $10 a ticket. It should be like it's gonna be a real good time. Box Pounder says my wife wants to know if there will be any chanting. Oh, I'm sure there'll be chanting. There'll definitely be chanting. We love to chant. Nasties love to chant. Yeah, that's just how it works. It's this is gonna be a hilarious night. It's gonna be too good. We'll get to that. Hurts coming up here just before 7:00. 3 guests in the 7:00 hour of the show as we try to legitimize ourselves, I guess. But lots to discuss there. But 2 other things a couple of things. One, how much of this? We'll get to the Elks naming poll in a second. How much of this Holloway Broberg do you hang on Ken Holland?
Oh, good question. Jeez, nothing.
Okay.
I think this is retaliation in some respect. Trev and I were talking about, and I think Trev, you mentioned he was mentioning it on his show that if we jump on the alternate timeline and Ken Holland's still the GM of the Edmonton Oilers, does this happen at all?
Well, him and Doug Armstrong are super tight.
I know.
Like, they're golf buddies. Like they're
so there's all these little pieces of. I mean, we live in a conspiracy-driven world,
and I love them.
But
for sports,
so now you have Holland leaving. Armstrong and him are buddies. The Chiarelli factor. This seems like the big. Let's turn the screws to the Oilers a little bit. Ken Holland. I mean, we talked about it for years here. I think he did a fantastic job. with the Edmonton Oilers. There's not very many blemishes on that.
The Campbell contract was the one that was tough.
That's the tough one.
Yeah,
right?
that was the tough one.
But he fixed a lot of stuff, lots of stuff, and now
Well, they were significantly better when he left than when he arrived. Simple as that.
last 3 years they've lost to the Stanley Cup champion. That's what Ken Holland has built, a Stanley Cup contending team. And I mean, it's now you look at it, I mean, you get let go. When you get let go from someone, you're always a little bit upset. And there's that little bit of you that always is like, I hope they don't do well the next year after I'm gone. There's always that little bit of, I don't know, just when you get fired. I think there's something to that a little bit.
Yeah.
And yeah, too many things are lining up when you look at it. But it's also, it does make sense for the St. Louis Blues to make this acquisition.
100%, yeah.
It's you look at their roster, they're a little bit older, but now going after two really good young players, not having to go through the draft, not having I think you can say both are considered regular NHL guys now. The way they performed last year, the way they ended the season. Yeah, why wait for a second and third rounder? What are the odds of those two picks actually becoming fruitful and be regular NHL players in your organization, homegrown? It doesn't happen that much.
This one is in from Ron over on YouTube. It says, wasn't there reports that upper management told Holland to get a deal done in the season with both of them? Some blame is on him. Okay, so the report is Stoff yesterday on his show, Oilers Now. You can listen to it on 630 Ched. Stoff, in the clips that I saw pop up on social media last night, was basically saying that Ken Holland was directed by upper management. With that being said, that's Jeff Jackson. Because you can name names, Stoff. Like, Ken Holland's here. There's only one dude. Well, there's two because Paul Coffey's got some sort of power here. So Jeff Jackson basically told Ken Holland in January that you want to get these two guys done. And, I mean, the way Stoff laid it out yesterday, he was kind of putting the blame on this on Ken Holland and giving a free pass to Jeff Jackson. I'm like, okay, but if Jeff Jackson checks back in February and goes, hey, Kenny, how are things going with those two guys? And he goes, oh, yeah, I haven't got to it yet. Then would Jeff Jackson, if it was that much of a priority, not go, you know what, let me help you. Let me handle it. He's a CEO of hockey ops. How does a CEO of hockey ops not have full control over everything that's happening here? So trying to lay this on Ken Holland just because he's not around anymore and it's an easy blame, I think it's a cop-out. Like, if that's what the others are trying to have pushed out there, I'm sorry. You cannot hang what's happening right now on Ken Holland when Jeff Jackson has been there for the entire time. Like, I can't see that. Like,
well, and if it was that much of a priority, then Stan Bowman with the
first thing of business, like,
first thing should have been to get this done. But I think if you had both guys in a room and they were going to tell you the truth, I think Ken Holland and Stan Bowman looked at this and goes, you know what, I'm just going to squeeze them. They're restricted. They can't do anything. They don't have a lot of power. The only way they have power is an offer sheet. And it happened.
Yeah, even if there was direction from Jackson, was like, get this done, Ken. Do you think Jeff Jackson was like, well, give them whatever they want?
Yeah.
No, he's going to say, look,
give them $1 million.
They have no arb rights. We have no cap space.
Yeah.
You got to squeeze these kids a bit.
Yeah.
That's what they did. And look what happened. It backfired on him. So to hang this on Ken Holland just seems like the easy thing to do because he's the one who's not around anymore. And I fully disagree with that take. Yeah, should he have got it done? Sure. It could have done a lot of things better. And Jeff Jackson could have managed his cap better at the deadline to not put himself in this spot, or in free agency, to not put himself in this spot, which we loved all his free agency work. Maybe we should have been overly critical and been like, hey, what are you going to do with these guys? What if somebody offers them an offer sheet? I wasn't thinking about it at the time.
But I mean, even just Cass laid it. He said the same thing yesterday. I thought, these guys are just going to get squeezed. This is what's left, pick it or sit at home. Like they had nothing.
There's just no way Holland should take the fall for this.
No.
That's
and how much we always joke, how much power did Holland have over the last 4 months to make?
Like, if you looked up lame duck GM,
yeah,
I mean, that's basically what he was for the last year. As soon as Jeff Jackson took over, you're like, well, Ken Holland's not going to be the GM of his contract. So,
and he still brought in Enrique. I think he still did a really good job at the deadline.
Yeah,
with addressing some of the needs that the Oilers needed.
If the CEO of Hockey Ops wanted to get these guys done on a deal, then he should have made sure that they got a deal done.
Yeah.
It didn't happen. Now they got to deal with the consequences. All right, over to the other big story in town yesterday. The new ownership for the Edmonton Elks should be announced on Thursday, I believe. And as I tweeted yesterday, I do believe that there's a strong thought process here that you're going to get a rebrand back to either Esks or Eskimos. I do think it probably ends up being the Esks. Somebody said, what about Eskies? The Eskies, the Edmonton Eskies. I don't know.
That was big when I was a kid.
Yeah, everybody said,
Eskies.
man, the Eskies.
The Eskies are... Yeah.
You could get away with Eskies, I think.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I put out the tweet yesterday that, my sense is that there's going to be a rebrand here in the next 1 to 2 years, 18 to 24 months. And the replies were kind of what I expected. There are still a lot of people who are like full blown, like, yes, bring them back, because they grew up with the team. That's why this new owner is likely going to do it. But so then I decided to put out a poll, and just the question was simple: if you bought this team this week, what would you do with the name? And the options were Elks, just leave it as is, Esks, Eskimos, or a completely new brand. Like, just, I'm the new owner. They're not the Elks anymore. They're not the Esks. You can start over. You call them the Edmonton Larry Thompsons. I don't care. I mean, you're the owner. You do whatever the hell you want. But almost 5,000 votes in. And the Elks are at 21.8%. Completely new brands at 8.3%. The Esks are at 15.9%. And 54.1% of the almost 5,000 people that voted on this, if they bought the team this week, they'd change the name back to Eskimos, which, I mean, I knew there was an appetite there.
Yeah.
But I did not expect 54% of the vote to be like, let's just bring back the Eskimos name. And I know through the process, like, it was always mixed reviews, even when they went up north and talked to people. So,
yeah.
But yeah, I don't even really want to talk about, I'm just overwhelmed by the vote. 54.1% of people were just like, yeah, just take it back, roll it back. That makes me think that actually, if they did, they would sell 5,000 season tickets. Like, I honestly, like, that's overwhelming. It's crazy to me.
I'm of a certain vintage where I remember the CFL. It was popping when I was a kid. Like, when going to Lions games, especially when the Eskimos came, that was a huge game. And we were selling out BC Place. I mentioned when I had to get glasses, I think they were playing the Eskimos that game when I couldn't read the scoreboard. My mom realized I needed glasses. But we went to, and my cousin played for the BC Lions too. So, but I just remember it was the mystique of the CFL. The Grey Cup. It just seemed like there was. Maybe it was just because I was a kid, but there seemed to be way more attention towards it, and there's a lot of history there. I understand that the Edmonton Eskimos were. I hated Edmonton as a kid growing up in Vancouver because their football team was awesome and their NHL team was awesome. It was they were a dual threat, and they always beat my beloved Vancouver Canucks at the time. And then they would beat up my cousin on the field too. So I just hated them. But there's something there, and you just being at the stadium, there's a real family type vibe I get through the concourse. Like, fathers, you see the older people with their old jerseys and their young. Like, I see it looks like grandfathers and grandkids. Right? There's generational.
Yeah.
So I understand there was an affiliation. Like, there was a definite connection between the city of Edmonton and the Eskimos. So, is it surprising? At that number, it is a little surprising.
It's pretty overwhelming.
But you knew that, like, going into the the nasty chat after games and stuff. With listen to Maddie, like you always see it.
You still do, yeah.
Change the name. We'll start winning.
Yeah.
Change the name.
And those are just bad takes.
Yeah.
Like, you're not going to win more games just because the name's different. You aren't losing. You don't suck right now because of the name. If you want to talk about why there's no people at Commonwealth, well, and actually I didn't mind the crowd. Now, it wasn't the crowd of past days, but the lower bowl looked pretty good at the last game. And but reason number one, there's not as many people as there used to be, is because they sucked.
Mm-hmm.
They've sucked since they changed the name. They've sucked since coming out of COVID. It was like this perfect storm that hit them, and they've sucked. Like, I know people are like, "Wow, Dusty, the Oilers back in the decade of darkness, they were still full." No, they weren't. I used to go to all those games up in the press box. When you look down, you'd see sections of like 40, 50, 60 seats in a row up top that were empty. So don't use that excuse either. They suck. That's why, and they're better. I think they're better this year than they were last year. The wins, losses, I don't know. We'll see. But they're a bad football team. They also, from what I've been told, not a season ticket holder myself, but they've burned a lot of bridges over the last few years with just poor management of your relationships with season ticket holders. That's reason number two, that there's not a lot of people there anymore. And then, reason number three, I would say, is that a lot of people are just like, how can you change the name of this team? I'm not coming anymore. Mm-hmm. So I'll be very interested to see if/when the new owner decides to flip the brand. I'll be interested to see if we see like a tweet a week later that goes, the Edmonton Esks have sold 6,000 season tickets since they changed. Like, will that be the case? Or are people just talking a big game now, and because they still suck, they're not going to want to go watch them? If the Edmonton Elks were 8-1, like the Montreal Alouettes, there'd be 28,000 people in Commonwealth. There just would be.
Yeah.
So, it's going to be a very interesting couple of days here for the football team. And you don't get a chance to see them at home again until September, was it 9th? Somewhere. Yeah, September 9th, I think.
People are going to have withdrawals from my tasty dogs.
Yeah.
It's a long time to wait.
Get out of that kitchen. Who was it? Tell me. Tommy was telling me, he went in to see you and you were like leaned back against the wall with your leg up looking like you should be having a dart.
Yeah.
And he went to hug you and you're like, don't.
I look like it was like an episode of The Bear, me sitting outside, right?
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah. I was doing a bunch of work last night and I didn't nap yesterday. I was just bagged. And it was like, I don't know, 10:40. And I come upstairs and Tam's watching a show upstairs and I go, hey, do you want to watch an episode of The Bear? Yeah. And she's like, right now? I was like, yeah, I'd like to watch a show with you. And she goes, you look like you're hammered. Like, you're too tired. I was like, but I want to watch The Bear. She ended up making me go to bed. She's like, no, we're not watching a show. You go to bed. I was like, fine.
Wow.
Fine.
She's a diamond.
Oh,
your wife.
Oh, yeah, she's great.
Unreal. Yeah. Like, some of the stories that you have, like I show my wife, look what Tammy's doing.
She's great.
Yeah.
She's great. All right, let's get into That Hurts right now for the personal injury lawyers over at SBLLP. This is a real kick in the nuts right here. We'll get to this. Albertans suffer personal injuries and accidents every single day, but many of you are too overwhelmed to seek the legal advice you need. So why not leave it in the hands of the experts? This is what you need to do. Personal injury lawyers at SBLLP have the experience to gather the evidence and advance your claim to ensure you get fair compensation. And the best part is you don't need to be intimidated by the process because they got you. www.sb-llp.com. Click on personal injury or call 780-438-5281. No need to feel shame. Let SBLLP handle the claim. Vernon Adams. This hurts. Like this has to hurt. Because Vernon Adams, when he got hurt 2 games ago, he was the front runner, far and away. I couldn't even find somebody else that would compete with him to be the MOP in the Canadian Football League this year. You get hurt on a play late in a blowout, and before you return to the field, the BC Lions have brought back the brightest star in the Canadian Football League to take your job. That hurts.
That really hurts.
Like there's how can that not hurt this guy right now? And I know Farham was like, well, doesn't necessarily mean that VA's not going to play and all this stuff, but I just feel bad for the guy. I really feel really bad for Vernon Adams right now. And I'd be very interested to see if Vernon Adams wasn't hurt and Nathan Rourke called the Lions and was just like, okay, I'm done with the NFL for now. Do you want to give me $1.5 million for the next 2 years?
Yeah.
And like, if VA's healthy, do they still pull the trigger on this?
Second in the league in passing yards, second in touchdowns, and then
behind Bo Levi, who's lost his job.
Yeah.
Bo Levi might never play a game in the CFL again. We'll get into that with Dave Naylor, too.
That hurts, too.
That hurts. Actually, also that hurts Bo Levi Mitchell. You're leading the league in passing yards and touchdowns, and you've just been replaced by Taylor Powell.
Yeah. That's crazy. 4 more passing TDs than Vernon Adams. He's at the 18, 2,500 passing yards. A little over 100 more than Vernon Adams, and then gets his job taken. That's how I felt when Tommy Saloin would take me out.
The exact same thing, right? Damn that Tommy Salo. Who's this guy think he is?
Actually,
future Nathan Rourke?
The one time that was, and I've told this story, but when we had the Oilers golf tournament, and they traded Billy was gone. They traded him, but Cujo hadn't signed yet. But they had the rights, but he wasn't there, and it looked like I'm in. This is it. And right before in my backswing, Scott Thornton yelled out, "We signed Cujo," and I just shanked this ball right off to the left.
That was the end.
No.
Oh man, that must have been. Like what a roller coaster!
It was. I felt so good going to. Where did we play? I don't know what course we were playing, but I felt so good. Camp was rolling, and I was thinking, "Oh my gosh, it's going to be me and Freddie battling or something."
Yeah.
And no. Yeah.
We signed Cujo.
Yeah, we signed Cujo. Yeah.
That's a tough one. John over on the Nasty Chat this morning says, does Rourke get to keep the USD $900K that the Atlanta Falcons signed for him? No, he does not. No, those contracts are not guaranteed when you just get brought in camp like that. He was outright released. He cleared waivers, and he is now signed. Biggest deal we've seen in quite some time in the Canadian Football League. So we're going to get into that with Dave Naylor. He's going to be by here coming up just after 7 o'clock this morning. Conch for all of our 6 o'clockers out there. Oh, here's one more. Let's hit this one. Sharpie texted this morning. It says, morning, fellas. Close to 7 here, but I was hoping to get a conch from my fiance and I, who are getting married on Saturday. It's a little early, but I'm on holidays the next couple days, and being up at the 6 o'clock hour may be a bit of a battle. Thanks, boys. Have a great day. Sharpie, best of luck. Let us know how much Vogue paid for your photos. That'd be great. All right, sports update for Green Plan. Shout out to the Green Plan boys who were on the Hangout yesterday. Did an absolutely tremendous job. All right, YouTube Trev, you've got it, buddy. Let's go. Let's get the latest in the world. This guy's on fire today. Has anybody ever done his job more efficiently than YouTube Trev? If this guy's running the Oilers, Broberg and Holloway would already be signed. All right, let's get to a sports update. For Green Plan, Trev.
Longtime season ticket holder Larry Thompson is set to announce his ownership of the Edmonton Elks on Thursday, and it is with good reason to believe that a rebrand could potentially happen over the next 1 to 2 years, changing the Elks back to the Eskimos or the Esks. We'll know more about that tomorrow. Staying in the CFL, Nathan Rourke is set to return to the BC Lions after clearing NFL waivers following his release from the Atlanta Falcons. The 4-5 BC Lions will be taking on the Winnipeg Blue Bombers this Sunday, in which there's a good chance Rourke will make his season debut. In the majors, the Blue Jays won their game last night by the score of 6-1. Kevin Gausman pitched 7 scoreless innings, and George Springer felt he got hit, but apparently he didn't, and this led to him getting ejected at the top of the 7th inning in last night's ballgame. The Blue Jays look to sweep the Angels in Game 3 of this series tonight at 7:30 on the road. And time is ticking for the Oilers management group to match the St. Louis Blues offer sheets they made to defensemen Philip Broberg and Dylan Holloway. The Oilers have 6 days and 1 hour to match these offers. And lastly, this one is for Zach. Ahead of UFC 305, Dana White was asked if Conor McGregor will fight in this calendar year, to which he said no. Conor McGregor will not fight in 2024. This sports update is brought to you by Greenplan, providing you with award-winning environmental planning and consulting services. Whether it's municipal, industrial, or residential, plan it right with Greenplan. Visit greenplan.com or give them a call at 780-455-4292.
The nasty bash was awesome, so let's remember it with this song. The EST on Corey B, tattoo still looking strong. 6:30 it wasn't working, so old Smash said so long. AM Nasty C and Frazier yelling, turn your headlights on. 1, here comes the 2 to the 3 to the 4. Tommy met a new girl heading out the door. No homology stripping, his shirt just hit the floor. Oh my, good lord. Someone poured me birdie booze on a shot ski. Now you know Reed Wilkins was a mystery. Extra J's pants got a little pissy. Everybody at the bash was a nasty. Everybody at the bash was a nasty. Everybody at the bash was a nasty. 6 o'clockers right and left, let me pour it on your head. Moment we won't soon forget. Hey Norm, Fergie's backflips let us in. Made the last table again, rode it out till 2 a.m. Oh Lord. 1, here comes the 2 to the 3 to the 4. Tommy met a new girl heading out the door. No homology stripping, his shirt just hit the floor. Oh my, good lord. Someone poured me birdie booze on a shot ski. Now you know Reed Wilkins was a mystery. Extra J's pants got a little pissy. Everybody at the bash was a nasty. Everybody at the bash was a nasty. Everybody at the bash was a nasty.
Oh, baby. What's the song at the Estes going to sound like? Am I right?
Yeah. How many suit changes are you going to have?
To be honest with you, possibly 2.
Possibly 2.
With what I'm working on right now. So we'll see.
Are we going to get is Kubek going to put out odds for the winners? In
Oh,
certain
that's
categories?
a great point. Actually, it's going to be a real weird scandal when I clean up on the betting. Like not on awards, but on the betting. Like Kubek's like, Dusty, what's going on here? How'd you make $16,000 off the Estes? Oh, I don't know. Just happen to have a bunch of underdogs win. That's incredible. I don't think EST is ready for our first betting scandal.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Right? We do have a lot of controversies around here, but no betting scandal.
Maybe a Will Smith moment.
Ah, yeah. That's a great one, Gager. Text in today. Who's more like who's going to step on stage and slap somebody else in the face? Who gets slapped and who's slapping? And why is it me and Awanik? One or the other, because I could actually see Maddie slapping me because he's like, this is not how the event was supposed to go. Slap. Come on, man. Nielson Show brought to you by South Fort Chevrolet. If you're watching over on YouTube today, hammer the thumbs up for us. Subscribe to Edmonton Sports Talk, making our push up to 10,000. Wouldn't it be awesome to be at 10,000 subs by the time we get to the Estes, which are just a little bit away? Tickets are now available for the Estes. You can email matt@edmontonsportstalk.com, or you can just go to edmontonsportstalk.com, click on Estes, and then you click on that page, and then it'll say email matt@edmontonsportstalk.com. So just skip that step. Email Matty. South Fort Chevrolet, presenting sponsor of the Nielson Show. Save up to $12,000 right now with their employee pricing on the new Tahoe or Suburban. Excellent stock available. Perfect for skiing, hockey, accommodating car seat strollers. Truly the best vehicle for a family. They also got deals to save up to $14,000 on Silverado 1500s and HD. So if you're looking for a new truck, South Fort Chevrolet would be the place to go. Coming at you from the Popeyes Louisiana Kitchen studio today. Pick up some of their new boneless nugs. As boneless wings, I guess. They should just brand them the boneless nugs. That would be the first people ever to be like boneless nugs. Because usually you don't have to put boneless on it. You just go boneless nugs. Be like, man, have you guys had any of those Popeyes boneless nugs? They would love it. Absolutely love it. One of your text messages today will win text of the day for A&W. A&W, they know what's up. Mama knows a good price and that the simple pleasures are the best. So look no further. You can now enjoy the Mama Burger combo and a kids pack for just $12.49. It's a Mama Burger, fries, a regular A&W root beer, kids buddy burger, little side of apple slices. This list just goes on and on. A Make Good granola bar and a milk to go, which are absolutely delicious. All for just $12.49. Hurry in. Available for a limited time at participating A&W restaurants. Dave Naylor scheduled to join us. He hasn't connected yet, Trev? I know he's actually at camp doing a story on Rourke's brother. So let me fire Naylor a text and just make sure he remembers.
I looked up the Creator Awards on YouTube. They have to get to 100,000.
Oh, we don't get a plaque for 10,000 subs?
No, I don't think so. It says
Trev, you said we would. Unbelievable.
Honorable mention, I think.
I was wrong.
100,000 silver, million gold, 10 million diamond. With a real big diamond, with a diamond.
It comes with a real diamond?
Real diamond, yeah. The play icon's a diamond.
That's a good one. So we're trying to connect with Dave Naylor. Andy Strickland scheduled to join us as well. Eric Macramalla a little bit later on. Free advice coming up in this segment as well. Of course, you can hit us up in the Paris Jewelers inbox at 780-218-9999, 780-218-9999. Norman at Combine says, will there be a Paris Jewelers proposal at the Estes?
Wow, good one.
Interesting.
Trev?
Wouldn't that be something? Trev, you got anybody you want to propose to right now?
Not at the moment.
I'm sure we can convince Zach to do it anyway.
Yeah, Zach would be good for that.
How do you deliver it? Is it like, do you cut out the middle of the phone book, and then you give her the phone book?
Here you are. Here you are. Okay, something like that. That would be good.
D-Rock is in it. Says, Dusty, the Oilers should let Broberg walk and trade the second and a first and Cody Ceci for Rasmus Anderson. Are you just passing off Stoff trade ideas now? Come on, D-Rock. Did you come up with that on your own? I'm not sure you did.
What do you think? Do you think they're going to keep him?
I think they will. I think they know that they'll be able to get Evander Kane on LTIR.
You think so?
Well, can you imagine having to lose those two guys just because Kane's wishy-washy on LTIR talk? Like that really hurts for SBLLP. I mean, that would really sting. But you have to know now in 6 days that Evander Kane can go on the LTIR, because basically Hart from Puckpedia yesterday on two guys and a goalie told us that there's ways.
Yeah.
Right? Kane on the LTIR, trade Cody Ceci, boom. We match it. And you can match it and go over on the cap for now, and then got to do some hard work here the rest of the offseason. Kane on LTIR and sending down, what do you say, a combination of like Josh Brown, Corey Perry, Stetcher, Ryan, whatever. So there are ways. It's not impossible, but it'd be damn near impossible if you can't get Kane on the LTIR. If Kane's not on the LTIR, then you're hooped here. Yeah. So you have to know one way or the other. Like if they've been going back and forth with Evander Kane, and it's like I think Rashad tweeted yesterday that it's not 100% certain but it has to be within the next 6 days. Because if Evander Kane goes, hey, I'll let you know by September 10th if I'm going to be on the LTI or not, you're screwed.
Yeah.
You're screwed. So you have to know exactly where this thing is headed. So I think what's going to happen here is Kane will be on the LTIR, and then they'll match.
Ugh. What a mess. I don't think that's going to happen. I think Broberg, they're going to let him walk.
Think so?
Yeah.
Do you think because of how the relationship's kind of been rocky with Broberg anyway, or
it's a gamble, man. It's a real gamble. But I do think that they let him walk. And I mean, it's a second round pick. Package that up.
You can package that up at the deadline, even if you want it for something.
It's an asset to get. And I mean, we were saying how at the beginning, when Broberg was sent down, if they could have traded him for a second round pick, like a lot of people say, that's a good deal. right? Like, because the way that he played, but it's just that you were always expecting more, and you finally get a glimpse of it, and that happens. And those types of defensemen, there's not a lot of them, especially at his age, right?
If they let Broberg go, you're still rolling Ekholm, Nurse, and Kulak on your left side.
Yeah.
And then you've got CC on your right side, and then the combination of Stetcher and Brown on your right side as well. I don't think you want Brown playing every single game, so maybe that means Stetcher will play. Like, Stetcher and Brown are exact opposite defensemen.
Yeah.
Right? So if you want a puck-moving guy who gets around really well, then Stetcher's in. If you need a guy... Somebody asked yesterday, like, if Kane is gone, and, like, Fogle didn't fight a lot, but, Fogle could dust it up a little bit. Like, does this team have any toughness right now? And that's what Brown fights.
Yeah.
So if you're going up against the big team, or you think it's gonna be a physical game, or somebody's running roughshod on McDavid, go ahead, put Brown in the lineup. So they could let Broberg walk, but I don't know, you saw him in the playoffs, and you're like, this is the guy they've been waiting. This is the guy they used the top 10 pick on, and have been waiting years for it to actually, as they say in the biz, pop. And it would suck that you wait all that time for him to pop, and then the Blues are like, hey, thanks for developing. We'll take him because you're in a bad cap spot. Like, that sucks.
He did something that's very rare. Like, over the past 2 seasons, Vinny Darnay has been a really good defenseman. Like, there's been progression with him. He's become a lot better. And to take his spot late in the playoffs like he did, because it looked like Vinny was having an issue with some of the speed at that point, right? It was getting a little too ahead of him. And Broberg went in seamlessly. Was able to defend at a higher level. So that's what worries me. He's a good defender with some offensive puck moving upside. That hurts. But what do you think? This is where I want the behind the scenes kind of drive to survive at that first GM meeting in Boca Raton, when Armstrong and Bowman come in together. And are they is there placements? Like, is there names at certain places and they put them right like across from one another or beside each other?
How I imagine it being is like when Zoolander walks past Hansel. And he's like, "What's up, bro?" And he turns around and goes, "I'm not your bro." Like, that's how I imagine them. But most of my world is imagined around Ben Stiller movies from the 90s.
They have a walk-off?
Right? Yeah, right now, Stan Bowman is looking at Doug Armstrong going, "You can trouble me for a warm glass of shut the hell up." You will go to sleep, or I will put you to sleep. Talk about one of the best side characters ever.
Oh, yeah.
Man, in Happy Gilmore, Ben Stiller, brilliant performance. Absolutely brilliant performance. My God.
Your fingers hurt? Well, now your back's going to hurt because you just pulled landscaping duty.
Oh, too good. I mean, it's no Ann Ramsey.
Get me a soda with some ice in it.
But still, it's not bad. Naylor's going to join us at 8:30 now. We moved Naylor around. He said he's got a ton of stuff on the go right now. So I guess he didn't save time for us. But he's going to pop by around 10:30 today. We got Andy Strickland coming up at 7:35. Eric Macramalla at 7:45. 780-218-9999. 780-218-9999. There are a bunch of comments over in the Nasty Chat. If you're watching on YouTube today, don't be shy. Hammer the thumbs up. Give us a sub to the channel. If you're looking for entertaining, static-free sports talk, we've got you covered here. Captain Crunch says $4.5 million for a guy who hasn't played a full NHL season is way too much. We have no idea how he will play over the long haul. You let him walk. I mean, basically what you are basing this decision off is his playoffs, Gager.
Yeah.
I mean, you didn't have him in the lineup last year during the regular season. Got him in the playoffs ahead of some others. $4.5 million for a guy who hasn't played a full regular season in the National Hockey. I understand what he's saying, but I also know a lot of people who love Broberg. Like, there's a lot of people who watched the American League team last year, and everybody's like, Broberg's going to make an impact on this team now. He'll be a top 4 guy next year. So there's two different trains of thoughts here. It's what has he done to earn 4.5? The answer is nothing. But can he be worth 4.5 for the next 2 years? That's what you have to determine if you think you can fit it in at all.
I lean towards I think he can. Why would they, like, he got a lot of chances. Like, they've stuck with him for a long time here too, right? And he hasn't really shown. I remember that 2 years ago, or was it last year, 2 years? Anyway, I think it was last year because Ekholm was injured, right? And he got a lot more looks to really preseason to show his stuff. He was in every game, and there was, you're not playing against NHL competition. The rosters aren't set. That's the time where you pull a Holloway. Like, Holloway, it's probably been the best preseason player for the Oilers over the past few years, but that's what he's done to get on that roster game one, right? He's given them no choice. Broberg didn't, but yeah, I think he walks, though.
A couple good text messages rolling in here. Library Pat this morning. Stan Bowman to Doug Armstrong.
Who the hell are you all of a sudden?
That's good.
Library Pat, you sneaky guy. That's real good. Stan Bowman to Doug Armstrong.
Who the hell are you all of a sudden?
That's so good. I love this one too from Chris. Guys, can you imagine Stan Bowman walking into the office and saying, I can derelict my own balls? A classic Zoolander line.
That's good.
Oh, that's pretty good too. Well done, you guys. Well done on the text messages. That's pretty good stuff. 780-218-9999. What do you do let's just say in a world they can match. I think they match. But there's some of you out there that say 4.5 for Broberg. I don't care. I'll let him walk no matter what. 780-218-9999. 780-218-9999. Hampton Steve is in it. Says, one thing people are overlooking is if the Oilers match these offer sheets, will they be able to retain these players in 2 years when the contracts expire? They'll both be RFAs again and will need to be qualified at these high rates. This will be happening when $50 million of the cap will be taken up by McDavid, Draisaitl, Bouchard, and Nurse. I don't see how the Oilers will be able to qualify Holloway and Broberg at these high rates with them not being the difference between winning and losing the cup over the next 2 years. I'd let them go now and take the picks.
The cap will go up over the next 2 years, though.
Yeah,
right?
the cap should go up over the next 2 years.
So it's going to look a lot different. But the Oilers aren't young. They're not a young hockey team. These were Trev said it before the show. These were two guys that brought the age down a little bit, and tough to replace. When you look at the progression of a player, usually what happens is some of your older veterans become unaffordable, and that's when you insert your young guys, right? The stopgap at a younger cost, and then you kind of move on. You just fill the gaps. But this is kind of push them ahead of their salary curve for sure. But I don't think that would affect the Oilers in 2 years. I feel that at that point, these guys are either worth that amount, and the cap will increase at that point. And then you'd think that the Oilers would be in a much better cap situation in 2 years than they are now.
Stan Bowman to Doug Armstrong at the general manager meetings.
Get away from me, you horse's ass!
How does that person send in that text and not have their name on it yet? Like, that's a legendary drop right there, man. Like, get away from me, you horse's ass on a Wednesday. Just absolutely terrific stuff. 780-218-9999. 780-218-9999. All right, keep those rolling in. A couple things to get to here. We do have Andy Strickland coming up. Eric Macramalla is on the way as well. So we'll get to that. Cool Bet Hotline of the day will hit here before 7:30 as well. Try to make it 3 in a row to start the week. I've just been riding with the Jays the last 2 games, and it's worked out pretty well. We'll take a look at all that today. But let's get into free advice right now for Damon Bunting. I'm talking with Bunting later today. He's got his Bunting puts together an amazing golf tournament, and it's happening on August 29th. Unfortunately, I'm going to be in Victoria that day getting ready for that Touchdown Pacific game. But it's a good. I'm going to talk with him today, and if he has any teams or spots available in his tournament, I'll let everybody know because it's an amazing tournament. He's an absolutely terrific dude, and he's a great realtor. Every time he posts a house on Instagram for sale, it sells like in 3 days, and he gets double the price that you're asking. Just kidding. Just kidding. That can't be false advertising. But he does well. He'll do well for you, and he's a down to earth good dude.
Yeah.
Visit his website, www.damonbunting.com, or find him on Instagram, Damon Bunting Real Estate. He's been one of the top, most consistent producing realtors in the city, in Western Canada, in the Edmonton region for a long, long time. He also, by all accounts, has some sort of photo booth that we are planning on borrowing for the Estes on September 17th. So you get to walk the red carpet and then get the old photo booth experience as well. But it's not like a photo booth that you have to jam into.
Yeah,
it's like
the fence. Yeah, that's good.
Highbrow event, Gager.
Yeah, it's I gotta decide what I'm gonna do.
You gotta figure out what you gotta wear, buddy.
Yeah. Do I go just suit jacket, no shirt?
Wow.
Yeah, Mr. T starter kit.
Yeah.
You know,
nobody else can do that.
No one.
That could be your look.
That could.
That could be your look.
I've seen Snoop. Like his ward attire at the Olympics, when he went full equestrian gear, that was next level. Like he hat, but maybe I'll find something. Top hat.
I like how you're going for the cool look of Snoop Dogg. Like that's a bold move right there.
Yeah, that's really bold.
Cozy. The Paris Jewelers inbox is just taking an old-fashioned hilarious pounding today. Hey, Dusty, if Matty is trying to slap you with the Estes, your only saving grace is that if it's anything like his free throws, he'll probably miss.
Ooh.
Savage.
Ouch.
Savage. That's real nice. All right, free advice for Damon Bunting. What do you need help with? 780-218-9999, 780-218-9999. Let's start with this one. This was a Twitter DM last night. Boys, my buddy just offered me $40 for my Holloway jersey. Should I sell it or should I hold it and see how the week plays out?
$40.
He'd be an idiot to sell it.
Well, first off, if you sell it, don't sell it for $40.
Yeah.
Like you could at least
I think this guy's full-blown meltdown mode on the offer sheets right now.
So if you go to sell it, at least $100, right?
At least.
And that's even lowballing it then.
Yeah.
But I'd still hold on
Do you
it.
think this guy doesn't know that you can get a jersey recrested?
Yeah.
Just to go buy an Oilers jersey right now is what, like $180, $200? Just take off the Holloway or do something hilarious with tape, right?
Yeah.
And make it something else.
I agree. And also on that, there's nothing like I love seeing, if Holloway does, jump ship, goes to the Blues. It is cool seeing but then, maybe not for Holloway's case because he's choosing to leave. But I like seeing some of the polls. You go and you see like the classic names, right? It's like, oh yeah, I forgot about that guy. So I don't mind that, but that's if you sell it at least over $100.
Is it like when you see a name in a phone book?
Not quite that. Not quite. I don't get quite the same thrill and sensation.
Obviously, I don't think you get the same thrill with anything in life than seeing names of people you know in the phone book.
Yep.
Now, you do not sell this jersey for $40. That's just horrible, man. I don't care if you're mad because you signed with the Blues. No, that's just bad asset management from yourself. Who are you? The Oilers at the cap right now? Please.
Yeah, no, you don't do that. You rebrand, just like the Elks.
Yeah. You'll find a way. All right, here. This is an interesting one because we were just talking about the Ontario cottage people. Although somebody did text in and was just like, Dusty, I had a buddy from Ontario who was like, hey, you should come on out to my cottage. He goes, he was living in a trailer 50 kilometers away from the lake. So I wonder if people just refer to anything in lake country as a cottage.
There is
right
a little bit like there's trailer parks. People slap their trailer. It doesn't move.
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah. You just
But,
slap it down and that's it. So.
It's not all.
Yeah.
It doesn't all look like Connor's place.
Okay, so here's this one. Here's the dilemma this guy has. We have a chance to buy a nice little cottage right on a lake west of the city. But in order to be able to afford it, I'd probably have to start working every second weekend. So should I pull the trigger?
How far out of town?
I don't know. He just said west of the city. I don't know what lake he's talking about west of the city, but
Look, from what I don't own a cottage, probably never will. But from what I hear of people that have them, is especially living here, there's winterizing, and if you can go out there in the winter, perfect, right? But there is if you always feel guilty if you don't go out there, right? There's that well, I got to get out to the cottage, and then you're there and you come back. So make sure it's your cottage life is part of what you want to do. I have a friend that has a place out in Pigeon. And they travel all the time, but in summertime they shut it completely down, and they're out there all summer.
Seriously,
makes sense, right?
Yeah, if you're going to do that, then of course.
Yeah.
I don't even have time to stay at my own house on weekends.
Exactly.
There's no way. I wish I always had this dream of getting a lot out at Trestle Creek because they've got like the water slides out there. It's an amazing place, but I'm just like, when am I going to stay there from Monday to Wednesday?
Yeah.
They're like, it's just, and then driving for work every day. Don't take time off. Like, Trev, what do you think? Would you work every second weekend to have a, so then you're already eliminating those other weekends that you could go out. So you're really only opening yourself up to 2 weekends a month.
Yeah.
Yeah. If Damon Bunting could get you a good deal on this, I'd still consider it. But
it would be, see, this is where the timeshare cottage goes, but go ahead, Trev.
Yeah,
What
good idea.
What would you do?
Yeah, that's where I'm having a hard time with this because it's those 2 weekends. That's all you'd get, right? So it's like, yeah, this is perfect. I got a cottage, but in order to do that, I have to, I have to work more, and I won't be at the cottage. So it's like, is it even worth it at that point?
Could you find somebody to take the other 2 weeks, and that'll save you some money on it? But then would you necessarily need to work those 2 weekends, and you want to be out there anyway? I don't know.
Yeah, it's a big decision because I think if I had a cottage and I wasn't there every weekend, I'm like, what am I doing?
Oh yeah,
yeah.
You'd want to sell it immediately.
Yeah. So, but I mean, and I also see when the kids get older. Mine are a little bit older now. They go out there and trash the thing.
Yeah. Scalding Gord says Gage is right. I had a cabin on Buck Lake for 2 years. The only day I was there was the day I sold it. He just had it, could never get out. It was just like, I'll just sell it. You get so excited. You're like, well, I'm busy this weekend.
Yeah.
Can't get out there this weekend. You know what people need to invent? In-town cottages.
Yeah. Man-made lake, just
big, huge lake right in town. And then it's like a smaller, cheaper home that you can go and stay at sometimes, but it's an easy drive. You don't have to go out. You don't have to set anything up.
My friend Grant had a place out in Kelowna in a nice, he sold, but that's so far.
Yeah.
He spent a lot of time out there, whatever, but he had to sell it too.
This one just comes in and says, hey guys, are we renting or buying tuxes for the Esties?
Well, this is an annual thing.
I mean, if you're planning on coming every year, you might as well just buy one.
Save yourself some money.
What would you rather do? You'd rather rent a really expensive tux or buy a not so expensive tux? I'd buy the cheap one for sure.
Yeah. Oh, I'd rent for the inaugural. I think I'd rent the fancy one. Something.
Oh, for the first one ever. Good idea.
One. And then
maybe you rent it under a fake name and never return it. Just saying. Imagine going to the lengths to get like a fake ID and stuff just to steal tuxes. That'd be weird.
Speaking of awards, and just because of this morning too, is there a Raygun category? Like someone that just completely embarrassed themselves?
Well, I think probably 6 of these categories is somebody who completely embarrassed themselves. Today we're focusing on, we got to get to that still. We'll do that in the 8 o'clock hour. Mind you, Naylor's kind of screwed up the 8 o'clock hour here, but we'll get to it. We're looking at today's a big one. This is one of Maddie's 4 marquee awards today. The episode of the year from any show. What was the best one-off show of the year?
Is this including all the shows? Including
all the shows. Could be a hangout, could be a Nielsen show, could be a post-game show. What was the best show of the year? We're not talking the show of the year. We're talking what was the best episode technically? The best episode of the year. 780-218-9999. 780-218-9999. A few that we already sort of have penciled in. when Jonathan Torrance and Alice were on the Hangout.
That was
classic.
Right. I was part of that.
No, you were sitting there.
Yeah.
You were there too. You were on that one.
Yeah.
That's right. You might have to come up and accept.
Except for Torrance?
Yeah. I think if Torrance won this thing, we could probably have Tommy get him to do a video, acceptance video.
For sure.
Which would be sick.
That would be sick.
The show, our show, the one morning where Corey B got a tattoo and we gave away a trip to Vegas. That was on the same. You were here. You were around for that one too.
You know what? Good things happen when Gage is around. Let's just face it.
Hey, our first 1,000 like show.
Yeah.
You were on with your first 1,000 like show.
Yesterday, come on, first time with you. What happens? All this news, Rourke.
Yeah, that's a good point. The hangout in Vegas when myself, Eric, and Maddie were just in Maddie's room with that red wall, and we were just, it was a good time. Real good time. So what was the episode of the year? 780-218-9999. We do have we gotta get moving here because we got Andy Strickland coming up. We got Eric Macramalla on the way as well. Let's get to your Cool Bet Canada hotline of the day. We've started the week 2 for 2. I'm looking forward to diving into that CFL game tomorrow. It's the Red Blacks and the Stampeders down in Calgary. Where do we go today? Let's see here. Oh, I like this number. Let's ride the Jays again. We've taken the Jays. They've hit for us twice. Toronto Blue Jays minus 104. Let's complete the sweep. Let's go. Toronto Blue Jays minus 104. What's the saying? In rodeo and in other places, you ride them until you get bucked. That's what we're going to do here. Toronto Blue Jays minus 104 will be your Cool Bet hotline of the day. It's a nicer number, different matchups, but nicer number than we saw yesterday. So Toronto Blue Jays minus 104 against the Angels will be your Cool Bet Canada hotline of the day. We've got an update coming up for Mitch and the great staff over at Park Mazda. Andy Strickland right after that on what the hell are the Blues doing to the Oilers. We'll get into that. That's on the way as well. Take it away, Trev.
Longtime season ticket holder Larry Thompson is set to announce his ownership of the Edmonton Elks on Thursday, and it is with good reason to believe that a rebrand could potentially happen over the next 1 to 2 years, changing the Elks back to Eskimos or the Esks. We'll know more about that tomorrow. Staying in the CFL, Nathan Rourke is set to return to the BC Lions after clearing NFL waivers following his release from the Atlanta Falcons. The 4-5 BC Lions will be taking on the Winnipeg Blue Bombers this Sunday, in which there's a good chance Rourke will make his season debut. In the majors, the Blue Jays won their game last night by the score of 6-1. Kevin Gausman pitched 7 scoreless innings, and George Springer felt he got hit, but apparently he didn't, and this led to him getting ejected at the top of the 7th inning in last night's ballgame. The Blue Jays look to sweep the Angels in Game 3 of this series tonight at 7:30 on the road. And time is ticking for the Oilers management group to match the St. Louis Blues offer sheets they made yesterday to Philip Broberg and Dylan Holloway. The Oilers have 6 days, just 6 days, to match these offers. And lastly, this one's for Zach to come. Ahead of UFC 305, Dana White was asked if Conor McGregor will fight in this calendar year, to which he said no. Conor McGregor will not fight in 2024. Brought to you by the great staff at Park Mazda and Mitch Lewicki. Mitch will slap Dusty if he doesn't get a sponsor of the year at this year's Estes.
Hi there. If you're like me, you like to picture yourself in luxury, even though there's absolutely no way you can afford it. And if you can, well, even better. Thankfully, I picture myself in something that is luxury, but still absolutely affordable, like the all-new Mazda CX-90 from Park Mazda. With the new luxury features like facial recognition settings and quilted detail Napa leather seating, I can pretend to be comfortable with all of my proper settings activated without even touching a button, thanks to Mitch Lewicki and the great staff at Park Mazda. I like to picture Mitch Lewicki as a ninja fighting off evil samurai.
Park Mazda, your dealer for life in Sherwood Park off Y Road, parkmazda.ca.
The Nielson Show featuring Lieutenant Eric. Only on Edmonton Sports Talk.
$7:36 on the Nielson Show. Dustin Nielson, Joaquin Gage with you. Josh Clausen nailed it, eh? Remember Josh Clausen? Did you when you stepped out of your house? Did you realize?
I forgot. I was going to mention that.
I know. Me too. I want to. Now we are. Now we are.
I had a Newman moment. I got Clausen.
You got us again. Stepped out of my house today. Smelled like I was in a bar in the 90s, and I was like, oh, Clausen, you nailed it.
Yeah.
Yesterday, Claus was like, and tomorrow morning it'll be a bit of smoke.
Yeah.
What a wizard. Yeah. He's a wizard. Clausen's a wizard. It's as simple as that. Lots of good suggestions rolling in for the episode of the year. One of the ones that's popped up a couple of times is our first show, The Return.
Oh, yeah?
Very first show we did. Phrase came back to join us for that show.
Yeah.
It was like the first time we've been on the air since getting shut down 2.5 months later.
Yeah.
I could see that one being a contender.
That's
a big one.
The first one was cool.
Yeah, that's a pretty big show. I can be in there. All right. I can't believe we were going to talk to somebody from St. Louis after everything that's going on here the last little while. 780-218-9999 is where you can chime in. Andy Strickland, who does a tremendous job covering the St. Louis Blues, has for a long time, co-host of the Cam and Strick podcast as well, joins us on the show this morning. Andy, good morning. How you doing, man? Appreciate the time. Don't have him. Trev's going to reset. Tell him to hang on. We're going to get him. We had this happen the other day, and Awanik was just like, you just need to reset.
Yeah. He needs an offer sheet.
That's what somebody needs to get this thing figured out. Awanik's flipped the boards up, and there's been like an issue each of the first 3 days, but he always comes in after and goes, it's working now.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it won't be tomorrow. Yeah.
That's what I did as a cable guy for years.
Yeah?
Works up till I leave, and then it goes on the fritz.
When you were a cable guy, was it always like one or two things? When there was an issue, you always walked in, you're like, yeah, the cable's loose. Plug it back in. There we go. We got him now? Okay, perfect. All right, let's bring in Andy Strickland. Andy, appreciate the time this morning, man. How you doing?
All good. No problem, guys. How are you?
Good. Are you on your way to a rink? What, you got like a morning rec league skate? What's going on?
No, my kid, he's got a skills skate, man.
Oh.
You know, I mean, everybody's got the skills coaches,
yeah,
the skating coaches. So get a little 1 hour skill skate in, and yeah, man, we got to take advantage of this last week before school starts next week.
Oh, yeah, that's right. School starts earlier down there. Yeah, that's all right. All right, so look, we were doing the show yesterday morning when the news broke. I'll have to say we were pretty stunned by it. Did you think that this was a possibility coming down the pipe for the St. Louis Blues?
No, man. And listen, I mean, was an offer sheet a possibility? I guess it's always a possibility. You just don't see these very often, that you're always going to be surprised when it does happen. And in the case of Doug Armstrong, I mean, this guy does such a good job of keeping things quiet to the point that it doesn't get out. I mean, it's basically like the message sent to the agents on down. Like, this gets out, it's off the table, it's done. And there are high-ranking people inside the organization that had no clue, no idea whatsoever. So, to answer your question, yeah, I was definitely surprised. Gave us a lot to talk about. It's very interesting. A lot of anticipation, certainly on your end, but obviously here in St. Louis as well, to see how this plays out over the course of the next week.
You know, the surprise is one thing. As we sat here and broke it all down yesterday morning on the show shortly after the news moved, I mean, pretty brilliant play by the St. Louis Blues, is it not? Is that how you're viewing it, or are there people in St. Louis right now going, man, Broberg at 4.5 when he hasn't played a full season yet? It's a little risky. Like, how's it being viewed down there?
Well, it's always risky, but yeah, but this is what you do if you're going to. Like, I'm always of the belief, guys, where you don't submit or sign a player to an offer sheet that makes it easy for the team to match. I mean, you don't do it unless you truly are trying to get the player. Like, this is not a situation where they're trying to screw over the Edmonton Oilers. This is a revenge situation. They're trying to get back at Edmonton for something they did to St. Louis. No. This is utilizing the collective bargaining agreement and leveraging it to allow yourself to, you know, improve your roster. And I don't see it as being anything more than that. Now, I will say this. Doug Armstrong and Kenny Holland are very, very close. I believe they're golfing this week. You know, they do like an annual golf trip. And I don't want to say anything crazy, but I do feel confident in saying that if Kenny Holland is still the GM of the Edmonton Oilers, we're not having this conversation right now, and he's not doing it. I mean, I just don't believe that he would do it to one of his closest friends, and the way that went down in Edmonton, a little bit goofy. So I don't think it was difficult for the Blues to do this to Edmonton, considering how maybe, things went down with Kenny Holland. But at the same time, we're talking about two very good hockey players, two good young players. I mean, Edmonton, listen, you don't have a surplus of youth in your lineup. I mean, you got to protect these guys at all costs. It's easy to say, I guess, hey, listen, they signed a couple of guys in the offseason. I guess if they knew this was going to happen, maybe they don't do that because it's handcuffed them even more financially. But you always target teams that are handcuffed from a financial standpoint, where it's going to be difficult to match. I mean, if they had, $7 million in cap space or $8 million in cap space, and you just, sign these guys that you're what's the point of doing that? They're going to be able to match. You're not going to be able to get the player. You sign a player to an offer sheet with the full intention that you're going to get that player. And the Blues are hoping they get two. Now, if they get two, that'll be interesting, maybe slightly surprising. I think a lot of people are expecting the Blues to probably get one, but obviously their intention is to hopefully get two.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to talk to you about. I mean, I guess if things go really well, this has been masterful by the Blues. They're set up perfectly for it. Torrey Krug being out for basically the length of the entire season. Broberg comes in and he becomes the third highest paid defenseman. Where do you see these players fitting into the Blues lineup if all goes well and they do become St. Louis Blues after this week?
Well, I think Broberg could be a guy that you slide in that could play with Colton Parayko. I mean, he could certainly play with Justin Falk too. I mean, but Parayko, Falk, those are your top two right D. So he's going to slide in somewhere in your top four, and he's going to run the power play too. Caught up internally inside the organization before, so I think they had their eye on him in terms of identifying him as a player that they like. And there's guys all over the league that you like, but this doesn't just happen overnight where they're sitting around having cocktails and oh, we should just submit an offer sheet to Philip Broberg. These guys are so intelligent in terms of how they view the NHL game. It's so different. That's why it's so different being on the inside, as an executive or a GM versus being a fan. I mean, this is thought out months ago, knowing that the potential, you have to know every team's financial situation in terms of where they're at with the salary cap, what contracts negotiations are looming, and who's in a situation where it might be difficult for them to keep their players. And that's exactly what happened here. I think this was looked upon several weeks ago, several months ago, in terms of preparing for this particular situation. So here we are today, so yeah, masterful, but at the end of the day, this is the job of a general manager. We don't see it very often. I think there is sometimes the fear of retaliation. You can have some of that. I saw that years ago when Vancouver, signed David Backes to offer sheet.
Yeah.
The Blues matched it, and then the Blues, they retaliated in a little bit of an immature way, to be honest with you. But it was a retaliation to go and sign Bernier to an offer sheet, which Vancouver ended up matching. But the Blues had no intention of signing Bernier to an offer sheet, but they did so because they were upset because Vancouver did that to David Backes, and he ended up making $2.5 million on a 3-year contract as a young player, and set the tone for him to make a lot of money the rest of his career. But you have to sign players that make it difficult to match. I mean, you just can't sign a player to an offer sheet that's going to make it easy that you're not going to get the player. So the Blues had full intention behind this in terms of their strategy. And we'll see how it plays out. The wild card, obviously, is Evander Kane.
Yeah.
What the plan is with him. I don't see Kane just pulling off a Kucherov and being like, yeah, okay, I'll sit out the entire year unless his surgery or injury or whatever, requires him to miss the entire season. And then, just come back after the playoffs. I don't see him being willing to do that, but, who knows? But, Edmonton's going to have to do something. But I like, general managers who utilize the CBA to their advantage and show some creativity, and I think you're seeing some of that here right now.
Andy, great insight.
Welcome back, Stan Bowman, by the way.
Yeah, no doubt. Here you go. Deal with this situation. It's wild. Andy, really appreciate the insight, man. Thanks a lot for giving us some time this morning.
Okay, anytime, guys. Have a great day.
There you go. That's Andy Strickland. Amazing job covering the Blues for a long time now. And man, the one thing you need to hear.
You don't. Yeah.
Andy knows people around St. Louis very well. And he goes, they're on a golf trip together. They're that tight. Like Armstrong and Holland are that tight. It's not crazy to think that. And it's not crazy to think that if Ken Holland's still running the Oilers, not saying that he should be because of this, but just the whole situation. It's not crazy to think that Doug Armstrong would look at his best buddy and be like, yeah, I'm not going to do that to you. But you're not there anymore, so we're going to try to take advantage of this.
Did any time over the last 5 years of Ken Holland being GM, did he give you any indication that this was his swan song? Aside from people just saying it, like hearing him speak, never once did he give me the impression that he wanted to stop doing this. Like, if you've ever met the guy, I was telling you, I've met him a handful of times, and he is just he's like going to Boston Pizza, sitting at the bar, watching a game and talking hockey. That's what he is.
He lives it.
He lives the thing. Like, and he's not like X's and O's talking what you should do, what this guy did. No, he's just like, this is good. Oh, that's great. Like, he's very positive. And not once did he get that. And to hear Andy Strickland say, look, these guys are buds. They're golfing right now. It would be, you don't think that Armstrong is going, hey, what's this Broberg kid like? What's this and I don't know. It all, to me, Dusty, these signs are looking like Ken was pushed out the door with Jeff Jackson, and it wasn't as amicable a departure.
Well, Jeff wanted to go to Stan Bowman. That's what he wanted to do.
So he's like, I can still do the job I want. Of course, Ken Holland wanted to win a Stanley Cup. Are you kidding me? He's this close. You don't think
he was rumored to get another job right away? Remember, he was in the mix. So it's that's fascinating stuff, man. Strickland's a beauty too.
Perfect.
All right, let's get to some Macramalla intros. Then we're gonna bring in Eric Macramalla, brought to you by the great staff at Park Mazda. EST legal analyst and guy that claimed to have never lost a case because he doesn't count quitting just before a verdict as a loss. Which I love that one. EST legal analyst and guy who likes to offer sheet other law firms' interns. Eric Macramalla. That's a good one. EST legal analyst and guy who was recently placed on the no-fly list after loudly exclaiming, "Is my ass allowed on this plane? Because it's the bomb." Eric Macramalla. And EST legal analyst and guy who was held in contempt of court for flying a drone into the prosecutor's office during his case preparation. So that's not a good way to go about it either. There he is. Macramalla, what's going on, buddy? How you doing, man? Yeah, we know that. Yeah, you mentioned that
I spent a lot of time getting felt up. And so
Lucky.
I spent a lot of time. I remember I spent a lot of time even at the border crossing into the U.S. in my limousine. I spent a lot of time inside the border area looking at photographs of George W. Bush and Dick Cheney, right? Because what they do, whoever the incumbent is and his VP, they put their photos up at the border. So I just stare at them and we would just talk. And like, hey guys, it's me again. I had a reserved spot at the border. Like I'd pull in, right? They tell you to pull over. I had my name on it, Mr. Eric Macramalla, Esquire. So yeah, the airport was never a lot of fun. It's still difficult at times. I remember I flew in. I was flying to, I forget, but I was in Frankfurt to connect somewhere. And I was backpacking through Europe. So I had a big beard. Remember my pandemic beard? Do you remember that, Nielsen? It's a big, big beard. You remember it. Just say you do.
Yeah, it was great.
Why don't you go to hell, you bastard? You're not even listening to me. Okay, so I remember. I had that big beard. I had a backpack on. So that combination, it's not going to work at the airport. And I was at the gate, and these 4 cops pulled me out of line. out of the line, and they questioned me. And then what was the last question to prove that I was Canadian? He said, the guy asked me in his Frankfurt accent, or his little accent, he said, who's the hockey team in Canada? That's pretty much how he put it. And I go, well, you might say it's the Leafs, but I'm going to say it's the Canadians. And I got on the plane. I remember my seat was at the back of the plane. Are we on the air? Whatever. My seat was at the back of the plane. Do you know what it's like to get onto a plane a year or two after 9/11 with a big beard, a backpack, and walk down the aisle while everyone gasps in horror as you get to the back of the plane? If you don't know what that feels like, I think I just explained it.
Probably sucks for you. Yeah, that's probably.
I was fine with it. Please, that was another Macramalla intro.
Eric Macramalla with us, the guy who scares everybody on planes all the time. Eric Macramalla. Hey, we got a bunch of. So, what do you think of the offer sheet? Like, we don't see a lot of offer sheets in the National Hockey League. The St. Louis Blues go after 2 Oilers on the same day with offer sheets, putting the Oilers in a really tough spot here right now. I totally think it's something that should be used more around the league, and I think general managers don't want to piss off other general managers, so they don't do it. But where do you come out on this move by the St. Louis Blues?
I think the offer sheet is an instrument in the CBA, and it should be used. The issue with the offer sheet is it's so punitive. If you want to go after a good player, like if you want to go after Michael Nesish, right? If so long as you're able to pronounce his last name, if he actually agrees, you are going to give up a lot. That's the issue. So the offer sheet is of limited value. So for the players that were, and by the way, an offer sheet, just so that like the listeners get it, right? It's not an offer that's made. It's a contract that's signed.
That's signed, right? Yes, they're signed. I know some people yesterday were like, have they actually signed these or did the Blue? No, they signed these deals.
Yeah, it's so, it's a great, so when it can be a great tool for the player to use to try and get an extension from his incumbent team. Just like Sebastian Aho did it when his agent allowed him to sign his deal with the Canadians. It was brilliant because you knew the Hurricanes were going to match. You knew that Aho was going to get paid. So I think it's fine. I don't think it's a backstabbing thing. I know hockey's got its code, absolutely, but it's of limited value and it's punitive typically. So if you're doing it, you do it at your own risk. Fair or unfair? I think that's fair. Hello?
You're absolutely right. But
anybody there?
That's good. I thought you were.
This segment's going really well, as usual. I'm carrying. Well, I was done because there was silence.
You're a show host. You're a show host. What can we say?
It was. So, like, you know how it is. Like I think at this point when I end when I end my comments, right, I'm kind of like working my way down that sentence, right?
It started to fade down. Yeah, should have been. You should have known better. Should have known.
You guys need to see. By the way, you need to see if I can send you the visual of my interview with Ben Johnson. I think you would love it. I interviewed on my show last week, right?
Yeah, like full time, like an hour.
Yeah, an hour. Yeah, and this week I've got Tim Raines. Tim Raines is going to come on.
Oh wow, nice work.
So it's gonna be a lot of fun.
Man, we gotta start listening to that show.
Yeah, you guys should listen to the show. No one listens to. I know you want to put it on your website.
We do. I mean, we want to put it on here. It'd be great.
Yeah, maybe I'll get 40 likes. I know your likes are good. Is that guy still there? Every time I come on, he goes, "Hey, do you notice the likes go down when Eric comes on?" I love that guy.
He might still be lurking around,
like herpes. Yeah, just flares up every once in a while. Yeah. Sorry, you had a question, Mr. Gage.
No, I thought you were going to tell us about Ben Johnson, the visual.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it was interesting. Like he was in Muskoka, so he must be doing something right? And he's training athletes, which I think was great. It's like Mark McGuire when he was hired as the batting coach for the Cardinals. I still laugh. It's the stupidest hire in the history. It's like, all right, Mark, I've got my bat. Oh, you don't need that. Just meet me in the locker room.
Yeah, I got you.
I'm going to inject your ass with some. So, but it was very kind of modest background, but he was like, he comes across on the air angrier than he did in the video, right? But it was really something to speak to him because I was trying to make this point in the interview. Like I said, total non-judgmental interview. You know how I feel about PEDs in sports. That's well documented. And, but it's not a black and white issue, right? That everybody in that race was doping, right? Carl Lewis tested positive for PEDs 3 times at the U.S. Olympic trials in '88 before the Seoul Olympics that same year. So when you test positive at the U.S. Olympic trials, you are immediately banned from the Olympics. But the U.S. let it slide, and they let it slide with a number of athletes. So that race, they call it the dirtiest race. 6 of the 8 players have been linked to steroids, and the belief is all 8 were on steroids, right? And so you wonder, why. I guess Ben Johnson was our maiden voyage when it came to being disappointed with someone on PEDs in sports, and to what extent was there an sort of an implied racial bias as well with Ben Johnson? It's a fascinating case. It's just, why is this person still being persecuted? Why is this person, persona non grata? What is it about Ben Johnson in that moment that has resulted in him being treated differently than many other people that have tested positive?
Well, speaking of Olympics, I wanted to know what your magical moment over the 16 days is. It? We were talking about Raygun. Were you back in the day? Did you throw the cardboard down and make a few extra shekels?
Were you a break dancer back in the day?
My favorite moment, without a doubt, was the break dancer. I mean, I thought that, like, there was stuff online about Elaine. That's what I thought of when she was dancing. I'm like, is that Elaine break dancing? Why is break dancing? Why is break dancing in the Olympics? I think that's the first question, right? And I'm just waiting for all male synchronized swimming. That's what I want to see. I want to see all male synchronized swimming. I also love the diving when they would screw it up. I would look for people making mistakes. They spend 4 years training and then they fail. That's what I was in for. That's why I turned the TV on. The Olympics were amazing this year, weren't they? Like, it was phenomenal.
It was a lot. It was a lot of fun.
We're all wondering, will there be a terrorist attack? No. And the events were phenomenal. I enjoyed it. I mean, look, we all know that a lot of these guys are not clean, right? Like, it's obviously, but you just set that aside, just like watching a movie, suspend, sort of your initial reactions kind of stuff. And I thought it was a lot of fun to watch. I love the track and field stuff's great.
The setting in Paris. I mean, you can't go wrong. I mean, everything looks spectacular.
Oh, you can if you're swimming.
Ridiculous.
you can go wrong if you're swimming. Right, because then you're vomiting and then you lose a leg because you have an infection. But no, I loved it. I think what they still need in the Olympics, I think we would agree with this, is for every event, have a regular person in the event.
Yes, just so we all know what a regular person looks like.
Yeah,
100%.
That'd be great.
I agree on that. Hey, before we let you go, the Edmonton Elks are putting new ownership in place on Thursday, and there apparently, from what I've been told, is an appetite to change the name either back or to change the name to Esks as opposed to Elks, and try to reconnect with the old name of the Eskimos and go with Esks. What are your thoughts on how this would be viewed, and would you give the advice for them that this is probably not the right
I can't
move?
believe this. Are you serious?
I am serious, man.
Are you serious?
Yeah. This is going to be a conversation here.
Do you still call those games?
Yes, I still call the game.
Why are you raising this issue with me? Because it goes in one direction. What's wrong with you, Dustin? I choose not to answer the question because I care about you too much.
Oh, thanks, man.
Yeah, it's a stupid thing to do.
Yeah.
Well, I thought you were the.
Would I name my team today the New York Japanese?
Well, you know what's crazy is I put up a poll question last night on Twitter. I said if you bought the Elks this week, if you became the owner of the team this week, what would you do with the name? 54% of the 4,500 votes said they changed it back to Eskimos.
Yeah, it's just you probably don't name a team after a people. I don't know. Call me old fashioned. You wouldn't like. I remember when I was covering this, I said, "Hey, would you name the Eskimos today?" And everyone was like, "No, of course not." Well, it turns out I was wrong.
Turns out 54% of people said they flip it back. Yeah, I think what's going to happen is they're going to settle on. I think they're just going to settle on Esks, and go with that.
Well, I thought Eric was going to. He was the original buyer. Going to move out here, call them the Egyptians, and finally get that Mazda from Mitch.
Yeah, our King Tut player of the game is.
Good stuff, buddy. We'll talk to you next week.
I care about you too much to answer the question.
I know.
You take care of yourself. I love you more than your funny CFL team names.
You look after me. That's great. Eric Macramalla. There you go. Legal analyst. Brought to you by the great staff out at Park Mazda. Where Mitch has told me multiple times in text messages that he's never going to want to meet that guy. This is never going to happen. Hey, man, if Macramalla comes out, you want to go for lunch or something? Nope. All right. Well, that's cool. 780-218-9999. Beer Hunter is in and says, why is breakdancing in the Olympics and bull riding is not? I mean, breakdancing being in the Olympics opens up a whole can of worms. Now, it's not going to be in the next Olympics.
No.
And which is weird because it kind of got some buzz, but then you got Raygun out there circling around like she's had 20 drinks. Like
my daughter, who doesn't breakdance,
She's a
but
dancer,
does
though.
hip hop. She would crush Raygun. Like she would crush her. So part of me is thinking, maybe I'm going to LA in 4 years.
Wouldn't that be something?
How great would that be?
God, that would be cool.
The dad off to the side
Yeah.
cheering his daughter.
Hanging out with Snoop and Dre.
Oh my God.
Did you see Dr. Dre wants to compete in archery in 2028? He said he's dead ass serious. He wants to compete in archery in the Los Angeles Games. Can you imagine if we're like, okay, here's Dr. Dre.
That would
needs to hit the bullseye for the gold medal.
Well, and then who's the nincompoop? Who are the brothers there? Those
Paul
guys?
brothers.
Paul brothers.
Paul,
Yeah.
yeah. He says he's gonna bring the gold home. He's tired of losing, and he's gonna be in the Olympics.
What a hero. What a hero. He does realize that he'll have to box boxers in the Olympics, right?
Does he realize that these guys are like actual Golden Gloves champions that will probably just point him to death?
All right, let's go. 780-218-9999. 780-218-9999. If you are watching over on YouTube today, we're really close to changing 200. So let's hammer the thumbs up for us. Give us a sub to the channel if you haven't already. If you're listening on TuneIn or iHeart or at edmontonsportstalk.com, please just fire the link to EST to your buddies so they can hop in on the fun as well. We got a sports update coming up here for Clayburn Services. If you're looking for work, Clayburn Services is hiring right now. YouTube Trev's going to have more on that. But we need somebody to play Kind of Easy Trivia right now as well. 780-218-9999. Gift certificates to Mr. Mike's. I got to pick up more GCs to Mr. Mike's. Mr. Mike's, guys, if you're listening, I need some more gift certificates. People are loving these things. They're gobbling them up like crazy. If you would like to play Kind of Easy Trivia today, just text us right now at 780-218-9999. 780-218-9999. And we will play Kind of Easy Trivia coming up here just after this sport. And you know what's coming up after this? Dylan Holloway goal song. Because we might lose that.
Oh my gosh, I forgot about that.
This is a sad day.
Changing 200.
Oh!
There it
Update.
is.
Let's do it.
Longtime season ticket holder Larry Thompson is set to announce his ownership of the Edmonton Elks on Thursday, and is with good reason to believe that a rebrand could potentially happen over the next 1 to 2 years, changing the Elks back to Eskimos or the Esks. We'll know more about that tomorrow. Staying in the CFL, Nathan Rourke is set to return to the BC Lions after clearing NFL waivers following his release from the Atlanta Falcons. The 4-5 BC Lions will be taking on the Winnipeg Blue Bombers this Sunday, in which there's a good chance Rourke will make his season debut. In the majors, the Blue Jays won their game last night by the score of 6-1. Kevin Gausman pitched 7 scoreless innings, and George Springer felt he got hit, but apparently he didn't, and this led to him getting ejected at the top of the 7th inning in last night's ballgame. The Blue Jays look to sweep the Angels in Game 3 of the series tonight at 7:30 on the road. And time is ticking for the Oilers management group to match the St. Louis Blues offer sheets they made yesterday to defenseman Philip Broberg and forward Dylan Holloway. The Oilers have 6 days to match these offers. And lastly, this one is for Zach to come. Ahead of UFC 305, Dana White was asked if Conor McGregor will fight in this calendar year, to which he said no. Conor McGregor will not fight in 2024. Take your career to the next level with Clayburn Services. They are hiring all positions, including journeyman bricklayers and apprentices of all levels. Take advantage of their outstanding mentorship program and work with peace of mind knowing they are an industry leader in safety. Visit www.clayburnservices.com or make it easy and give Jeff a call at 780-910-6728.
We found out not long ago. This kid is ready to be in the show. Holloway go. Holloway go. He can dangle hands so sick. Back of the net right off his stick. Holloway go. out not long ago. Whoa. This kid is ready to be in the show. Whoa. Holloway go home. Holloway go home.
Can you imagine if that gets taken away from us? We just starting to scratch the surface with that one.
Yeah.
My God, that'd be a major kick right in the old EST balls. That's not good.
What really hurt with Strickland, not only the fact that the Holland Armstrong golfing trip, but the fact that he made a D pairing with someone that Oilers fans have been clamoring over for years.
Yeah.
And how good does a Colton Parenko, Philip Broberg D pairing sound to you?
Did Strickland not say they'd use Broberg on the power play too?
And he said probably quarterback the power play.
Wow.
Yeah.
What the hell?
What the hell?
For Broberg, you kind of hope he gets that opportunity.
Yeah.
But weird times. Weird times.
Who do you look to take? Like, who, if Bouchard's injured for any amount of time, and who takes his spot?
Well, it would probably be Nurse. I would think I'd probably go Ekholm. In a weird plot twist, could it be Stetcher? I don't know. Let's just hope Bouchard stays healthy. The Nielson Show is presented to you by Southfort Chevrolet. Go see Daniel and his team out there. Tell them we sent you. They'll give you 15% off accessories on your new ride. Check out their website, of course, www.southfortchev.com. Employee pricing right now for the month of August. Save up to $12,000 on a new Tahoe or Suburban. Who's playing kind of easy trivia today, Trev? Who do we got?
Rusty Shackelford.
Rusty Shackelford is going to play today, looking at his hands on a gift certificate to Mr. Mike's Steakhouse Casual, the casualest place ever, in the Hampton Inn on the corner of 137th Ave and Mark Messier Trail. They got the 6 o'clocker lager on tap. No big deal. You're going to love this stuff. All right, Rusty Shackelford needs to get 3 of 5 correct to win the gift certificate to Mr. Mike's Steakhouse Casual. Rusty, you ready to roll today?
Morning, boys. Let's do it.
All right. And when the phone works, it actually does sound real nice. This board is way better than the other board. Yeah. It's just like some issues. All right. Here we go, Rusty. I'll start the ticker. I have to read the first question. Good luck, man. Which team signed 2 Oilers to offer sheets yesterday?
St. Louis.
What position does Philip Broberg play?
Defense.
Name one current D-man on the St. Louis Blues.
Falk.
Which CFL team's being sold this week?
Elks or Esks.
Which Edmonton Elk wears number 2?
It don't matter. Calgary Flames still suck.
And Sergio Ramos gets a nipple erection.
Oh, is that dirty?
This is not just a dream, it's a wet dream of orgasmic proportions.
Oh, is that dirty?
Frustration sets in and the emotion goes out, and then you just start playing by yourself.
Oh, is that dirty?
You cannot come to my house. No, not today.
You cannot come to my house. No, not today.
I thought he answered that Elks that question perfectly.
Yeah, I didn't know.
That was too good. Which CFL team is being sold this week? The Elks. Correct.
If he got every other thing wrong, I think he still wins just with that response.
just for that awkward response, justifiably so. This text is in today, 780-218-9999. Thank you very much for listening on TuneIn and iHeart. EdmontonSportsTalk.com. Watching over on YouTube. If you're watching on YouTube today, let's hammer the thumbs up and sub to the channel if you haven't. The Nasty Chat's just absolutely hopping over on YouTube today. We're at 221 right now. There's a chance we could change 300 here. If you're watching right now, hammer the thumbs up. That would be great. This text in says, "Hey Dusty, I get a new owner can come in with the attitude that he wants to change the name back and can do whatever he wants. But how does the league let him bring on what will most certainly be a never-ending controversy again? They will get pressure again from all forms of government and groups who pressured them before." That's in from Mike this morning, which is why I think they'll settle on esks.
Yeah.
Because what the hell is an esk? You know what I mean? Like when it's all said and done, it's like, what's a red black? A red black's nothing. It's 2 colors.
Yeah.
What's an esk? Like I'm really pissed as a play-by-play guy that I'm going to have to somehow like work in esks. I got to get used to it. Esks. I don't know. I think that's what they'll settle on because then the league goes, well, you're not going back to what it was. Esks is really nothing more than a nickname of what the old team used to be called. I think that's what'll end up happening. I think they'll be called the Edmonton-esques. And then you could brand it properly and say, taking the L out of Elks. And I saw that on Twitter last night. I stole that. I'm just going to throw that out. I didn't know how to come up with that.
You could go, but Eskies. You could just, Eskies is.
Eskies, esques.
Esks, that's too much.
Esques just doesn't sound, it just doesn't sound right.
Sound like Trump in that interview with Elon Musk. Sound like his dentures were falling out.
Something was going on there. Yeah. Yeah. I'm not sure either of those original candidates will be around come election time. Come on. Anyway, we're going to move along here. This one is in. Says, guys, I'm a bit behind on the stream, so maybe you have heard it already, but Elliot Freeman reporting that the deals are being talked about with the Oilers players were 1.2 for Holloway and 1.8 for Broberg. So they both got more than double what they were talking about with the Oilers.
Big raises.
That's why they signed this. I mean, that's why they do it. They got double what they were going to make with the Oilers. If you go to somebody right now and go, hey, here's what you're making. Here's what we'll give you. It's twice as much. And there's more opportunity, and you think that there's more potential over there as opposed to being where you are for yourself. And
after Strickland said that, the quarterbacking the power play, and you look at it, their older D-man too over there. But the comfort factor of knowing that you're going to make 4.5 regardless next year, wherever you land. That's a good feeling as a hockey player.
780-218-9999. That gets you into the Paris Jewelers inbox. Family owned and operated. You got to love the old family owned and operated company. 22 stores in 4 provinces across the country. www.parisjewelers.com is where you can text us. And we'll get to a text of the day for A&W a little bit later on, but let's get into 3 questions too many. We got to hit 3 questions too many for the great staff at Park Mazda. Mitch and his crew over there. They do hilarious commercials. Then we're going to get to That's Good, and then Naylor's going to join us around 8:30. So we'll see where we end up with That's Good, but we'll go there. But let's get into 3 questions too many today for the great staff at Park Mazda, where Mitch has already purchased this morning 100 tickets to the Estes. What a legend. Trev, you looked at me like that was real. Trev looked at me like he actually thought that Mitch had purchased 100 to the Estes.
Well, he sells that many homes, and then he just gives
he does cars.
Oh,
yeah, you're thinking
cars.
Bunting.
I'm thinking Bunting.
You know why? Because they're both excellent at what they do.
That's what I did.
That would be the reason. YouTube Trev, you have a Twitter account? What is it?
Yes, I do, actually. And I got like 30 or 20 new followers yesterday.
Come on!
Huge jump. So I've caught up ever so slightly to Glue Guy.
Let's do it again. Let's run it back.
Let's do it again. So you can follow me at YouTube_Trev and the race to 1,000 between me and Glue Guy and I should say. It continues, but I'm coming for you, Ricky Bobby. I'm coming for you. Let's go.
Has anybody launched a mock account of Phone Book Trev? That'd be a great secondary Twitter handle. It's
going to start now, though.
Oh, it'll be up now. Yeah, somebody will have that put done by 9 o'clock. That's going to be perfect. That'd be hilarious.
It's definitely your Halloween costume, though, right there.
Phone Book Trev.
I'm thinking about that. I can play into this.
Just big yellow box on.
I'm going to start carrying a phone book with me everywhere I go now.
Let your fingers do the walking. Yeah. That's what you say on
it. All right. Question number 1, guys. What are the odds Vernon Adams is in Edmonton next season? He's not going to be in BC.
No.
Nathan Rourke's getting paid $750,000 next year to be the quarterback of the BC Lions. So then you look at,
Trey Ford. Yeah.
Well, I don't know what's going to happen with Trey Ford.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Right, Trey Ford could leave at the end of the year as a free agent. So I don't know what happens with Trey Ford, but it basically comes down to the new owner Larry when he comes in. Do your homework, Larry. Is this your homework, Larry? I already see a bunch of Lebowski jokes here. That'll be this is what happens, Larry, when you change a name in the Alps. If you know, you know. If you know, you know.
What a scene.
It's so good. Man, Lebowski is just killer scene after killer scene after killer scene. Just too good. But new owner comes in, wants to make a splash. You got the guy who was front runner for MOP until he got hurt and may lose his job, sitting there, available. You know that the Ticats will probably be interested. Depending on Trevor Harris, I think the Riders will be interested. If Chad Kelly's back, I guess Toronto would be out. Montreal is probably okay right now. That's a way to make a splash, man.
Yeah. But then,
I mean, you could also sign Trey Ford to a contract to make a splash that way as well.
I think
it really comes down to if he's a Trey Ford guy or not, really. If he's not a Trey Ford guy, how does the guy that all of a sudden has arguably the most money in the league as an owner not drop the hammer in year one and go and get the most sought-after quarterback?
So is Vernon the most sought-after, do you think, after the end of the season?
Well, yeah, with Rourke locked up in BC, he would be.
Okay.
He would be.
But is Edmonton desirable enough for him to go to?
Well, for $600,000, he will.
I guess. I look at that Mosaic Stadium, the way like
to be the man in Regina would be something.
That's where I just.
It's a good point.
It's awesome.
They'd also offer you big money.
Yeah.
He'd be in a good spot. It's a really weird thing, but Vernon Adams could be in a really nice spot come this offseason. So good for him, I guess. Question number 2. Guys, who is the host of the Esties? Well, I think Maddie's thinking of going like voice of God style, where you just have somebody be like, and now to present episode of the year, and then you bring out the presenters. I don't know if we'll have an actual straight up host, but there's one man for the job, in my opinion.
Jimmy Kimmel.
I'm done with Kimmel. He hosts enough shows. Fallon's too shticky. That's coming from us. I like Fallon, but he's too shticky. He'd have to take the day off work because he lights up your living rooms every single night. But Josh Clausen would be. I mean, Clausen listens every single morning. He's an AM nasty. He's actually going to be nominated for an Esty because we have a category for a best live performance. And he did a little hip hop rap on the Hangout.
That's
Dr. J when we did the A&W song. I think that would probably be nominated in that category. But Clausen would be my number one choice to host the Esties. He's good looking.
Yeah.
He rocks a suit. We know that. He's hilarious. He's a nasty. He checks all the boxes.
He does.
Klaus checks all the boxes.
Goalie.
Sure, if you want. Goalie, sure. Can predict the future.
Yeah.
Like with the smoke that he called yesterday.
That's so funny you said that. It's I opened the door at like 10 after 5, and I was like, Clausen.
Yeah.
Smoky out here.
I did the exact same thing. I opened the door, and first thing I hit, I didn't do the Clausen. I just was like, Clausen. Like, how good are you to be able to predict how smoky it would be this morning? But that's the type of guy you want doing the Esties.
Yeah.
So, but it's Maddie's baby. I know he's got plans, but I'll tell you, if Klaus was like, I'll host, then.
What about, I look for the tandem. Who would be?
Like a duo.
Would Bratzel or Morrison be?
Millard and Fraser? And now we'll get to this award. No, we won't. We'll get to this award instead.
Oh, that would be good.
That would be pretty funny. Millard and Fraser co-hosting the Fraser hosting the Esties would be a pretty classic move too.
Selfishly, I just want a live Bratzel sigh.
Yes, the good old days. All right, question number 3. If Kane is LTIR'd and Holloway is gone, does that mean Savoy automatically makes the team?
I was thinking about that.
Would you say automatically, though?
No.
You can't just be like, hey, kid, congrats. Yeah. It's not like they're firing Jeff Jackson from Texas and says, well, you're starting on the third line. Like, I don't think you can do that.
I think this kid goes to the minors. You know, there's no need for it, right? You don't need him to come in and fill a spot. And you know, I think there was some mistakes made with Holloway. I think he stayed up too long, but if memory serves me correctly, that was because of injuries that he was with the Oilers for longer than he should have been. But a very good shot. If he has a good camp, I think he starts game 1, right?
Yeah,
for sure.
I think there's more of a shot there if Kane's on the LTIR
and Holloway's gone for
around.
sure.
Yeah,
he's happy right now. He's watching the transactions and seeing what transpires over the next week for sure. Because his chances of starting game 1 are greatly increased if this happens.
Mm-hmm. What say you? 780-218-9999. 780-218-9999. Some other text messages rolling in. Kent Morrison. Yeah, Morrison. He listens to the show on the podcast after. Macramalla. Bring him out here. I don't know if Macramalla could get through that show without getting himself in real deep trouble.
Yeah.
Rick Pinter. There's some Rick Pinter love here. As
Surprise presenter? What's the top surprise presenter that comes out, right? Like what's...
Well, there's early rumors of a Marshall and Muzz presentation.
Yeah, I like that.
They want to
I like
present. Man, surprise presenters. I don't know. We've had some people already text in and be like, man, I'll present.
Yeah.
I know Maddie's got a full list of people he wants to present, but this is going to be ridiculous.
This is.
It's going to be absolutely ridiculous. Actually, that brings us to That's Good. Let's get to That's Good right now for Italian Center Shop. If you want to surprise everybody at work and be a hero, like, don't roll in with a box of donuts that looks like they're 5 days old. Right? Don't do that. Roll in with a box of 12 donuts from Italian Center Shop that looks like you flew to the bloody moon and found these donuts and brought them back because they're absolutely delicious. You cannot go wrong. And they're massive. Like, sometimes you'll be like, oh, I guess I'll have 2 of these brutal donuts. You don't need to. Actually, these donuts you can split.
Yeah.
If we had a donut here right now, we'd probably split it right down the middle and share it.
So it's impossible for me not to go in there after I leave the show, like, because it's on the way.
Yeah.
And I see Popeyes. I go, no, I'm not doing it. And then
you give in by the time
I give in. I go. So I go to the sandwiches yesterday, and I grab the hot one.
Yes.
And
God.
it's $10. It's amazing.
It's 2 meals.
You can't just to get all the ingredients to make that sandwich would cost you way too much. It's such a good deal. And I grab it, and there's a smile on my face. I look up, and I see Don Metz.
No, Metzy was there?
Metzy's in there with the cart full. I go, what do you got? And he goes, all sandwiches, hot ones. And I showed him my hot one, and we were like, yes. And then we left. So it was
grown men connecting over the hot panino at Italian Center Shop. That's good.
That's good.
That's
I
really
forgot.
good.
I forgot. I completely.
That is funny.
That's funny.
So he had a full cart of sandwiches?
He was buying a lot of stuff. He had some roughage, but I think he had like 6 or 7 of those hot panino sandwiches in his cart.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, those are great.
Brilliant move.
You go home, like, whatever. Buy 2 of them for a little get together, whatever.
Yeah.
Big sandwich tray, cut them into little bite size, just nice little one-timers.
That's where I first found him. I was doing a Golden Bears banquet during the pandemic.
Really?
Yeah. And we were just doing it like virtually from the Golden Bears dressing room football. And after, they're like, oh, come on over. We got some sandwiches. And I was just like, okay. So I sat down and, a bunch of guys, and they're sitting around, and I looked at the sandwich. I was like, man, there doesn't seem to be any veggies on this sandwich. Just try this sandwich. It looks pretty good. And they were cut up, like they're a little bit thinner. And I'll never forget this. I had like 3 where I was sitting. And I was sitting with other people, and they're just smaller. So it's like this equivalent of like half a sandwich. So I had them. And then I was like, man, should I go for more of these sandwiches? Or is that like too many? So I got up and I moved around to the other end of the table, sat down with a couple other people, and was like, oh, sandwich. Nice. So I think I ended up taking down a full one, even though they were sliced up. It's delicious.
I do, actually. I go into because I like a little green in my sandwich, not just all meat and cheese. So I do. Weird. I grab a bag of the arugula. And then I go into my car, unwrap it, shove a bunch of arugula in, and eat half on the way home.
Really?
Yeah.
I've never tried arugula. I got it taken off a sandwich. We were at after the Elks game. We went to Joey. What's that? Is it called Joey or Joey's? Joey?
It's Joey now. Yeah.
I always confused. It doesn't make sense to me. Anyway, we went to Joey downtown, and I got the grilled chicken sandwich. It was pretty good, but I'm like, what comes on that? And she goes, tomato. And I said, well, let's lose the tomato. And then I said, and there's lettuce. I said, I don't mind the odd lettuce on my sandwich. I said, and there's lettuce. She goes, actually, it's arugula. And I said, who the hell are you all of a sudden?
I'm going to go.
Get that arugula off my sandwich.
I'm going to go out on a limb that you won't like arugula. I don't know.
You don't think so?
No, I don't think it's in your wheelhouse, actually. That's
all right. Well,
you can try it, but it's a sharp taste.
I don't even want to try it, really.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's good for Italian Center Shop is the fact that it's now official. The Esties are happening at the Metro Cinema Garneau Theater.
Awesome.
Like this is not, we're not like renting a hall somewhere. We've got the Garneau Theater rented out on September 17th for the Esties to celebrate the first year of Edmonton Sports Talk, which wouldn't be capable without partners like the Italian Center Shop and many others. But nobody in the media has ever done this. I don't think anybody else will ever attempt to do it because it is ridiculous. But I think it's going to be a successful night. I think it's going to be a very that's good type of night.
Part of me is a little upset that the old Garneau pub is gone. There was many a Saturday afternoon that myself, a few other friends, Dave Cooper, would go there for a beer.
Yeah.
We'd get calls from our wives like at 11:30.
Yeah, where are you guys?
Where are you guys? So
Garneau pub?
that would have been a great venue for.
I used to hit that up. That would have been a great after party spot.
Yes,
perfect because it was a little bit older.
It's older.
We
cool
all roll
tables.
in there in suits and stuff.
Oh
It would have been hilarious.
It would be great.
We used to go there a couple times after like Golden Bears hockey games.
Yeah,
pop in there after.
That's where I meet
nice
Herbie
close, like.
just for beers once in a while.
Okay, yeah, he's a beauty too. Yeah, but I think I'm going to reach out. I said this morning, reach out to Hudson's because they're a partner, and we'll just take the whole. Anybody who wants to come to the after party, we'll go down to Hudson's on a Sunday night and just pack that place.
It's on the corner there. It'll be a little bit of a buzz. You know what?
Oh yeah, what is this? What's going on?
Who the hell are you guys all of a sudden?
It's yeah. That's a really good one. We gotta hit that. The workers at Hudson's on a Sunday night when everybody from the Estes rolls in there.
Who the hell are you all of a sudden?
That would be good. But yeah, no, it's going to be an excellent event. We're very much looking forward to it. We basically built this calendar. We have 4 major events for Edmonton Sports Talk. Super Bowl party, which was awesome last year. Golf tournament, Nasty Bash, Estes. Actually, no, wait. I think Maddie said it's different. We're going to do a curling bonspiel in January.
Oh, nice.
January, February, like a curling bonspiel. That'd be one of the major events.
Where?
The golf, probably at the Shamrock.
Okay.
I think they got 6 o'clock lager on tap there. So, it makes sense.
That's the one in Bonnie Doon?
No idea.
Yeah, because they have it there. That's where Quinn works.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, the one where Quinn works.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. Yeah, so probably there. But anyway, we're going to do the curling bonspiel. It'll be a one-day event. Then we got the Golf Classic. Then we got the Nasty Bash. Then we got the Estes. And then that's how we view like the 4 golf majors. And then like the Tour Championship is the Super Bowl party.
Oh my God.
This is all on the wall. We got it written down. Stuff.
Awesome.
Yeah. So it should be a pretty good time. And if you want to get tickets to the Estes, they are now available. They're just $10, basically help us cover the cost of the venue. And you can email Matt at EdmontonSportsTalk.com. You can go to EdmontonSportsTalk.com, click on Estes to see more information. But it's going down on Tuesday, September 17th, 6:15 arrival. Starts at 7. Tommy gets there at 7:30. And then we can really get rolling. Like, Tommy cannot show up late to the Estes.
Yeah.
Like, he just can't.
This is another cool bet.
Yeah, what time does Tommy roll into the Estes? My God. That's good. A major event. All right. On the way after an update here with YouTube, Trev, for Sit and Sleep. Now open South Edmonton Common. If you like sitting or you like sleeping, why would you go anywhere else outside of a place that's called Sit and Sleep?
I think they have phone books right beside the chairs, too. So.
You can sit on them sometimes. Just like, oh my God, this is great. Dave Naylor's coming up, I think. Yeah. He says, have your guy send me the link again. It disappeared. How does it disappear? Naylor's just a mess today. I'm going to call him out on it as soon as he joins us. What a mess. We'll send him that link again. Dave Naylor's going to join us. We'll talk about the upcoming Elks ownership announcement. We'll get into the Nathan Rourke contract. Has Bo Levi played his last game in the Canadian Football League? We'll get to all of that coming up with Dave Naylor on the other side of 8:30 here. We've got the wrap for William Huff still to come as well. And our SD chat today, which we'll pick up with Naylor coming up here in just a moment. It looks like he has connected. Very confusing. Anyway, episode of the year on Edmonton Sports Talk. Not show of the year. Like the actual episode within a show. What was your favorite episode of the year across any show? 780-218-9999. 780-218-9999. Hit us up in the nasty chat as well. We'll get to that. Dave Naylor's coming up. Here we go. Final sports update of the day. Can't blow it now. YouTube, Trev, no pressure here, but man, you got to finish strong because nobody cares about the other ones if you don't finish great.
You got to stop that. I
All
don't
right.
like
You
this.
got this, buddy. You got this. Just don't forget the liner, obviously.
Yes, of course.
All right, here we go. Let's do it.
Longtime season ticket holder Larry Thompson is set to announce his ownership of the Elks on Thursday, and it is with good reason to believe that a rebrand could potentially happen over the next 1 to 2 years, changing the Elks back to the Eskimos or the S. We'll know more about that tomorrow. Staying in the CFL, Nathan Rourke is set to return to the BC Lions after clearing NFL waivers following his release from the Atlanta Falcons. The 4-5 BC Lions will be taking on the Winnipeg Blue Bombers this Sunday, in which there's a good chance Rourke will make his season debut. In the majors, the Blue Jays won their game last night with a score of 6-1. Kevin Gausman pitched 7 scoreless innings, and George Springer felt he got hit, but apparently he didn't, and this led to him getting ejected at the top of the 7th inning in last night's ballgame. The Blue Jays look to sweep the Angels in Game 3 of the series tonight at 7:30 on the road. And time is ticking for Oilers management group to match the St. Louis Blues offer sheets they made yesterday to defenseman Philip Broberg and forward Dylan Holloway. The Oilers have 6 days to match these offer sheets. And lastly, this one is for Zach to come ahead of UFC 305. Dana White was asked if Conor McGregor will fight in this calendar year, to which he said no. Conor McGregor will not fight in 2024. The wait is over. Sit and Sleep is now open. Celebrate with 20,000 square feet of savings on the trendiest furniture, home decor, and mattresses. Apply for your Sit and Sleep card today to make no payment for 18 months interest-free and be entered to win your purchase up to $5,000 on furniture and home decor. You can find them next to Planet Fitness in South Edmonton Common. Not bad.
That's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Solid.
Let's see here. Let's we go with.
The Nielson Show featuring Lieutenant Eric. Only on Edmonton Sports Talk.
You're such a beauty.
I was too sandwich excited.
All right, 8:34 on the Nielson Show, presented to you by Southport Chevrolet. Gager just following up on the. It's a good point. You're right. I didn't even think about it when you were telling the story, but this guy just.
I mentioned earlier if I went. We were talking about the sandwich for
Italian Center Shop.
Center Shop. But yesterday, if you were watching the show, I was wearing that special Black History Month Edmonton Oilers jersey. And on my way home, I'm deciding whether a Popeye sandwich or a sub, and I couldn't do it. I went in and I was so excited for this sandwich. And I walk into and if you've been in there, you go into the side door where the cafeteria is.
Yeah, the cafeterias are there.
And everyone's head turns around as I walk in, and I'm like, "What? Why is everyone look?" And I look down. I'm still wearing the jersey.
He's wearing his own jersey.
I'm wearing my own jersey. And then I got to get out of here. And I run, and of course I get Gage on the back. And then I grab and who do I run into? Don Metz, who used to produce all the video stuff. And he looked at me, looked up and down, goes, "How's it going?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm okay."
That's too funny. That's too funny.
Oh well.
All right, let's get to this guy. He's a mess. He's all busy today. Didn't know if he had the link. He had the link. Dave Naylor joins us. Naylor, where are you right now, buddy? What's going on here?
It might have to do with the fact I'm in my fourth city in 4 days.
Yeah, that happens.
Yeah, that has something to do with that. I was in Toronto on Sunday. I was in Detroit on Monday. I was in Cincinnati on Tuesday. I'm in Bloomington, Indiana right now. Speaking to you from the safeties room at the University of Indiana. So there you go.
What are you doing down there? What's the story? What are you working on?
Story here is Curtis Rourke, older or younger brother, the big younger brother, 6'5", young brother of Nathan Rourke, who is, of course, spent his college career at the University of Ohio, following in his brother's footsteps, took over the #1 job from Nathan, carried it through to the end of last season, and then entered the transfer portal. And he is here as the leading candidate to be the starting quarterback for Indiana in the Big Ten. And this is an extra year afforded him because of COVID. I think Curtis Rourke was an NFL draftable quarterback at the end of 2022 based on what he did at Ohio. Suffered an ACL injury at the end of that season, came back last year. I don't think he was 100%. Had a bit of a down year. Probably would have got signed somewhere in the NFL last year, but would have been. He wouldn't have been drafted. I can say that pretty comfortably. So he comes over to Indiana. Looks like he's got a good lead on the starting job here based on all the comments of the head coach here. And so very excited to see what he can do in the Big Ten. I'm sitting down with him in about an hour's time.
All right. Well, what about his brother yesterday coming back? Like, kind of, he always kind of thought, oh, it might happen one day. It might happen one day. Caught everybody off guard yesterday, didn't it, Dave?
Everybody. That one was done completely in the shadows. I don't think other CFL teams knew he was negotiating with BC. I think they were all told, nope, we're not considering, we're not looking. It was an exclusive arrangement with the BC Lions. And look, Nathan Rourke was on our broadcast a month ago and was asked about, potential return to the CFL, and he said right on TV in the live game broadcast with Glenn Suter, if I come back to CFL, this is definitely where I want to come back. I talked to him 2 weeks later when I was at New York Giants camp. Certainly, we had a conversation that day about how, between the geography and his family roots and buying a house there and his trust in Rick Campbell and Neil McAvoy, it was all about getting back to the BC Lions. And I think there were other teams that were interested. I think there are other teams that made phone calls. But ultimately, I don't think there was any playing one off against the other. It was just, hey, I'm ready to come to BC. How do we make this happen? Now, I was surprised for two reasons. One is I thought Nathan would play it out, see where quarterback injuries land. It's mid-season in the CFL. There's just so much can happen in an NFL season that could get you onto a roster that I thought they waited out. And I also thought it was going to be a little tricky going back to BC because you have this weird season where Vernon Adams looks like the most outstanding player in the league for the first 6 weeks of the season. He hasn't played that well. Yeah, I don't know if it's coincidence or not. He hasn't played that well since Nathan mentioned that he wanted to come back to BC. I'm joking about that, but I also wonder, like, if you're doing an outstanding job at your job and you're hearing that you might lose your job if something happened, I don't know how that affects you, but it would. It doesn't seem beyond the realm of possibility that that's a little unsettling. All that said, everything I'm hearing about how Vernon Adams is handling this situation is beyond first class. Like team guy, they're adding strength. He's on board with it, and I don't believe his attitude has soured at all. Which is amazing. For all of that, but I think I thought it was a lot cleaner for him if he wanted to go to BC in the offseason, right? They trade VA, he returns, but I think he wanted to get back and play football. That's something he talked about with me in late July. I don't think he's put out of his mind the idea of going back to the NFL this offseason, which I'm not sure would be the best strategy for him. But I think he maybe thinks that if your goal is the NFL, are you better to wait out this year and not have any play time for 2 years and try to get signed this offseason? Or are you better to get back to Canada, get some play time, and then maybe again this offseason? I don't think that's necessarily the best strategy. I would love to see him come back for at least a season and a half before he tries this again. But I think any notion that he's closed the door on the NFL because they signed a 3-year deal in BC, I think is wrong.
Well, we were discussing earlier. I'd like you to bring out the crystal ball and see where would be the best landing place for Vernon Adams at this point. We were, with the change of the ownership in Edmonton, the uncertainty at the quarterback position there. Dusty was mentioning Trevor Harris in Saskatchewan. Where do you think would be the best place for him to succeed, possibly now moving forward?
I don't think the BC Lions are even considering trading Vernon Adams at this time. I don't even think that's a consideration. I think they are looking at it as they're hosting the Grey Cup. They're going to have a 1-2 punch at quarterback of Nathan Rourke and Vernon Adams. So we all know one play, you need another quarterback. Yeah. Quarterback matters in this league. I mean, we've seen it, right? Like last year, Jake Mayer was the only one who started all 18 games for his team. So I think they see it as, adding depth to the most important position in the game. And again, because Nathan hasn't flushed the NFL from his system, I mean, what do you do if you trade VA to Saskatchewan next week and Nathan Rourke plays out the year for you and then he signs in the NFL this offseason? Like, so not only does this problem not clean itself up by the end of this week or the end of this month, I'm not sure it cleans itself up by the end of the season. I mean, they may have to kind of wait to decide what they're going to do with VA until Nathan makes his intentions known in the offseason. And look, he may give them some clarity maybe and say, hey, I'm not going to look at the NFL till, after 2025. Or he may want to go do workouts. It's hard to say what Nathan's stock is in the NFL right now because obviously anybody who wanted to work him out could have. But this is a time where everybody's got 90-man rosters. No one's, people are not necessarily looking for someone, although there were teams that needed quarterbacks in the last week or so. But does it mean he couldn't get a workout at the end of this season or get signed? I just think Nathan's going to be really a lot more discreet in terms of what opportunity he's going to go after. I just don't see him going down to be a 3-4 again. And when I ask myself, what are the chances that he's going to come back to Canada, play 9 games, and something's going to open up in a number 2 job in the NFL? I just don't see that scenario. So I expect VA does get traded, but I don't think it's going to be till after the season. And, then, you're looking at right now, the team that would seem to have the greatest need at quarterback is Hamilton. And I would be shocked if Hamilton hadn't picked up the phone in the last 72 hours and tried to land Nathan Rourke, to play 15 minutes from where he grew up. I know we all talk about him being born in Victoria, but he grew up in Oakville, Ontario, 15 minutes from Tim Hortons Field. I would be shocked if they had not taken a run at him in the last 72 hours. And but I think they're the team that still has the most glaring need. They benched Bo, and they're turning it over to Taylor Powell, who did a good job. But I don't know that you have your franchise quarterback in the building right now.
Well, just quickly then, because we're on the Hamilton Tigercast talk here. The end of Bo, in the CFL in Hamilton. A Powell injury obviously would kind of force Milanovic's hand if he's still got Bo Levi on the roster. But how does that play out? Because Bo obviously can't be happy with this.
No, I don't think he is. So look, the whole thing was curious when you go back to last year, where they benched him for a playoff game, put him in with 6 minutes left, and stood at his locker and said, if you don't play your highest paid player in a playoff game, I think we all know where this is going. And it's not like they had a huge turnover on staff, right? Scott Milanovich was the OC in that game. Now he's the head coach. Orlando Steinauer was the head coach. Now he's the, vice president, executive general. He's got all the titles. So it's the same guys running the team that put Bo on the bench last year. And when I was at the CFL meetings in Winnipeg in March, I kind of poked that question a bit with Orlando, how do you bring back the guy that you benched for a playoff game was essentially what I asked. And I don't think he answered that question straight on. It's a tough question to answer given the way the circumstances have turned around. But I think we all, the fear in going the direction the Ticats have is this is where they would be halfway through the season, And look, Bo's might be the first pro football quarterback in history to get benched while he's leading the league in passing and touchdowns. So, but a lot of times when you don't know what else to do with a team, you turn to the quarterback, right? We've seen it. So it's a bit of an odd one. I think he's done as a Ticat unless Taylor Powell is awful or gets hurt. And even if the Ticat season gets away from them with a few more losses and things, do they start turning to other guys? Does it become audition time rather than Bo time? If Bo's not their future, what's the point of playing Bo weeks 15 to 21 if you're out of the playoffs and he's not coming back? So I think where it becomes right now is, hey, we got half a season of football to play. I'm going to guess that somebody in this league is probably going to have a significant quarterback injury. And that's a situation where I think Hamilton could deal Bo Levi Mitchell this year. And I wouldn't be surprised if this is it for him. I just think when you've played at the heights that he has, had the success, earned the salary you have in this league, and it's gone in the other direction now for several years, I'm not sure there's a next team for Bo Levi Mitchell beyond this season.
I do want to get to the Elks ownership coming up here, and we will. But I just want to quickly go back to Rourke because the $200,000 in marketing money brings that overall what he'll be paid down. Can you just explain that I know guys have marketing money and they have to show up to different events, and that's how they get. But that's a big chunk. So how rare is it to see somebody get that big of marketing money laid out for him, and how does that work?
Yeah, so this is something that had always been kind of informal in the CFL, that you could kind of, guys had their salaries and on the books and all that, but there was sort of a marketing money component to it, as you say, making appearances, doing things, all that kind of stuff. And the league, it was kind of unregulated, I guess I would say. In the last CBA, they formalized that. So it's written right into the contracts now, and it never had been before. All that said, it's not guaranteed money. Right. If you put that in, it's not the team. You can't it's not guaranteed. And the league, demands that guys actually work for it. Now, when it comes to, a couple examples, Dalton Schoen got marketing money this year in his deal. Brady Oliveira got marketing money in his deal. And I think, from the outset, when I was considering what it would take to bring Nathan Rourke back to the economics, well, you can make a better argument for marketing dollars for Nathan Rourke than you can for any other player in the league, right? Because he's a quarterback, he's a Canadian, he's a star. So, yeah, that's a big number. I believe that would be the biggest number in the league. I'm also interested, Dustin, to see what happens with this whole idea in the years ahead, because this is an uncapped resource. There is no limit on what you can give a guy for marketing. But we have a salary capped league with an adjacent category that is uncapped. And it's all kind of under the headline of, well, you got to keep it reasonable, right? Well, you know what happens in football when the guidelines, you got to keep it reasonable. It becomes unreasonable pretty quickly, right?
Yeah.
So I'm very curious. And last year in the offseason was really the first year that this really seemed to pop up, that teams were popping, significant money to get guys signed that they would have had trouble signing without the marketing money. I think Oliveira and Dalton Schoen are great examples of that. And so it does give teams a lot of flexibility. And so that's essentially the one-on-one on how these marketing dollar works. But as I say, I'll be very curious to see where we are in this topic in a couple of years.
Expected to have Larry Thompson announced as the new owner of the Edmonton Elks tomorrow. We were talking a little bit yesterday, and there is an appetite here to maybe go to just Esks as a name and a little bit of a rebrand. And we've had a lot. The conversation. I posted a poll on Twitter yesterday. It's got 5,000 views or 5,000 votes, and 54% of the vote says if they bought the team this week, they'd change the name back to the Eskimos. So I was very overwhelming number there. I'm just curious, what role does the league play in this? Like, if Larry when he buys this team, if he says, "Look, I want to go to Eskimos," or I want to go to Esks as like a happy medium in the middle, can the league step in and say, "No, you're the Elks. That's it. You stay as the Elks"? Or how does that work?
I don't know if they can.
Okay.
But I don't think they would. Even
you don't
if
think
they
would, even if they could? Okay, so it's his team, his call.
I think when it comes to things like that, the league's approach has always been hands off, your market, your customers, your business, you figure it out. And I'll tell you what the league, where the league took that approach, a good example of this is on the whole thing of the transition from community ownership to private ownership. I started making calls on this about a year ago because I could see where the finances of the team were going, and I was hearing rumblings that this may be the direction. And what the messaging I got from the league kind of on background at that time was their team, their ownership, their market, they'll figure it out. We'll support whatever they do. There was going to be no, whoa. We've always had community ownership in. No, none of that. And while there's a different sensitivity around the name, obviously, because there's, it's emotional for some people, and some people it's politicized. I do believe in this instance, if the team wanted to go back to Eskimos or Esks, nothing that I've heard or understand would make me think the league would try and stop that. Now, but to your first question, could they stop it? Yeah, that's a tricky one because, look, every league has different dynamics, and I'd have to see what exactly the Constitution says and things like that. But in general, this is a league where teams dictate more than leagues do, right? As opposed to than the league does. In other leagues, you generally see more control and dictation from the league office than you do in the Canadian Football League for things like this. So, again, I'd have to dig into my Constitution, which is somewhere probably in my basement, and I'm in Indiana. I do have one, but I don't think I think the point is almost moot. I do not believe that even if they could, the league would step in and stop that.
Gonna be an interesting couple of days, that's for sure. Dave, we appreciate the time, man. Thanks a lot, and have a good chat with the other Rourke later today.
Looking forward to it, and thanks so much for having me on. Sorry for the delay earlier.
No, all
Take
good,
care.
Man. No, great chat when we got you. That's awesome. Dave Naylor joins us. And interesting.
I liked his Rourke reference to the enema-like reference to flushing the NFL out of his system to come back.
Clear it out.
Clear it, get rid of it.
Clear it out.
I didn't know that about that. Yeah, usually in most professional leagues, you see the league office kind of dictate what the teams can do to names. And to hear him say that the teams themselves have more power over how they're going to, be in the community and stuff, that's interesting. So I thought he's going to have to go into his basement and check this out, but I would think that the league would squash this if they said.
Apparently not.
But apparently not.
Yeah.
That's neat.
Well, that's another interesting twist in this entire thing. All right, let's get into the wrap for William Huff. who's just looking at a possible rebrand, being like, so much more business. I mean, Bruce and the team over at William Huff, they do all this stuff down at Commonwealth. They do all that type of stuff. So, yeah, I guess they would have to work on resetting Commonwealth again. And I believe the new ownership, regardless of who they were talking to over the last few months with different owners, there was some sort of level of commitment to improve Commonwealth as well. So,
really?
Yeah. Various leveling, like a few $1 million here and there.
Well, maybe I'll have
You
to
get some
talk
air
to
conditioning in the kitchen.
Well, that, and I might just rebrand the dogs. Just call them Gagers.
Yeah, I'll get 2 Gagers, please, with ketchup. No mustard. All right, the wrap is brought to you by William Huff. If you want your place to look as cool as ours, our place looks pretty cool. Get it done with Bruce and the Dream Team over at William Huff. Go to their website, www.williamhuff.com. I thought they've been doing it since 72. I was corrected. They've been doing it since 52. So they're 20 years better than I thought. What'd you learn on the show today, Gager?
What did I learn? Oh, just in that last segment. That's the biggest thing I learned is that the teams in the CFL have a lot more say in how they brand their organizations and what they can do. They have a little bit more power, which I didn't think they would.
I didn't necessarily learn this today, but it kind of hit me today that we could be nearing the end of the Dylan Holloway goal song.
Ugh, don't even say that.
I know.
That's
just starting to scratch the surface of this bad boy, and it's a banger. This is like when the Ryan Strome song got taken away from us.
I know. The thing is, when Holloway scoring around Christmas time, because that's when you watch Vacation.
Yes, even though it's not from Christmas, but it's,
I know it, but it's just.
I know, man.
That's
I know.
That sucks.
That
hurts.
Let's get to your sound of the day. Dylan Holloway, goal song. Here we go.
This kid is ready to be in the show. Holloway, go. Holloway, go. He can dangle hands so sick. Back of the net, right off his stick. Holloway, go. Holloway, go. Holloway, go. Holloway, go.
Here's a beautiful center pass, one-timer score. And there's Holloway, set up by McDavid.
We found out not long ago. This kid is ready to be in the show. Holloway, go. Holloway, go.
Oh, Holloway goal song. Hey, you gotta be happy with that. But also, you can be sad. Just match, please. Just match. We need that. We need that moving forward. All right, text of the day today, and I go to this one from Jason. Stan Bowman to Doug Armstrong at the GM meetings.
Get away from me, you horse's ass!
I don't know, Wednesday. Brilliant. Lots of good Macramalla texts today, too. To steal text of the day on a Macramalla day is pretty impressive. It's very impressive, actually. Jason, be proud of yourself, man. Come up with a handle, too. Because if you're going to be dropping bombs like that on us, you're going to become well-known here. That was really good.
That was really
good. What was
good.
the other one they had? Oh, yeah. Stan Bowman to Doug Armstrong.
Who the hell are you all of a sudden?
That worked out pretty well. All right, what are you watching tonight, buddy?
Probably nothing. I'm just going to grab my mask by the TV over there and go to the Italian Center and grab myself another sandwich because I'm dying for more attention.
Somebody said you should actually wear your judge's outfit into Italian Center shop.
Yeah. Maybe go home and just get full gear.
You think people are looking at you? You're like, oh, why is this guy wearing a old timey wig in Italian Center shop today? I declare I'm here for a sandwich. That'd be
all right. If I go in there and I just like it's a lot of old elderly people at that
the cafe
time.
there,
And if I go in there and just go all rise, I wonder how many I can get up.
I mean, probably none, but it would be amazing if we're talking one or two. Like that would be Belsy. What's up, buddy? How you doing, man?
My
Good to
save-on
see ya.
partner.
There you go. Yeah, Save on Foods buddies. Oh, trailer hitch.
Yeah, it is.
Trailer hitch. There we go. That's nice. That's nice. Good hangout coming up here. Belsy's in. Tommy's in. Maddie's in. I believe that's the new voice of the Oil Kings.
Oh, cool.
He's in today as well. So that should be a great hangout today. And they
You
got
don't like
lots
the
to
trailer
discuss.
hitch or what?
No, Belzy's just got this thing. He just is always chirping me.
Oh.
And he just, never mind.
Hey, giving you the gears again. Can't say it on the air.
I can't say it. I can't say
Can't
what
say
he
it
just
on the
did.
air.
But it made me laugh.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Quickly,
Yeah.
Dusty. I know we have 4 minutes, and I don't know what you were planning on talking about the last 4 minutes of the show.
I got a Zoom call at 9:00 with a client. So.
Oh, okay. We didn't really get to the episode of the year.
Oh, well, we got a few in.
Oh, did we?
Yeah. If
Okay.
you were paying attention, we did talk about it twice.
I'm busy. Busy, okay?
We have the ones we already had were the hangout with Torrens and Alice, the Nielson show when Corey B got a tattoo and we gave away a trip to Vegas on the same day, the hangout in Vegas with myself and Eric and Maddie in Maddie's room, the first ever show. The return phrase was on. We were back. Your first look at it. A lot of people did text in and say the 6 o'clock or Christmas party. That's always a fun time.
I was going to say, yeah, that was the one that stuck out for me.
6 o'clock or
That was
Christmas
fun
party is pretty
producing
good. Somebody said Matt on the hangout that day, he bailed on us on the draft as the commish. We were all stunned.
Yeah.
But I think that'll probably, I can tie into like hangout episode of the year or something. So, yeah, episode of the year. If you have any suggestions, 780-218-9999. Jason, who won text of the day today, says, wow, thank you so much. Wednesdays are my favorite day.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah, no, that's real nice. Trev, he just sent back his info for text of the day if you want to throw it into the winner sheets. All right, Gager, we'll see you tomorrow, buddy.
Yeah,
thanks for coming by. Enjoy the rest of your day.
I will.
You can stick around and have a beverage here, aren't you?
I'll talk to Belsy for 2 seconds.
Of course you got to do that. All right, that's going to do it for us. For YouTube, Trev and Gager, I am Dustin Nielsen. If you're listening on TuneIn or iHeart or EdmontonSportsTalk.com, tell your friends. Small dose of Whale on the Wolf. Hangout will fire up. It's a good one today. If you're watching over on YouTube, turn on the autoplay. That'll take you right on over to the boys. I'll be back at 11 o'clock with the Lock Shop today. And then Tommy and I with the oil stream by what will we discuss today on the oil? Shout out to the Oilers.
Thank you
for allowing this to happen this week. Like the Oilers and the Elks / whatever they're going to be called never let us down. It's terrific stuff. Have a great day. Take it easy.